Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. I'm out of breath. Oh, man. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming. Sometimes, folks, not often, we start the show in kind of a weird, discombobulated, convoluted way, and it throws our timing off, and I'm sprinting down the hall as we begin the music, and this was one of those days. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com.
The hallways of the old place of employment,
Woo!
those were some serious ones, though. Those were, 10, 15-second hallways.
Well, and you could get hurt if you walked out at the wrong time while a host was sprinting down the hall as he, picked up speed. Any host, for that matter. I'm not just talking about me. That could be anybody because there were a lot of doorways.
Yes, there
production
were.
rooms and the like, and somebody could step out and bam!
And they were all silent, the doors.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're designed that way. So if you hear it, you wouldn't hear it open. So you just see a foot step out, and you've got to be agile as hell to get by it.
You know what was always cool about that was that the people in radio understand, and if you were to take somebody out, there was no time to talk about it. Time was of the essence. We'll get back to you during the commercial break, and we can work out our apologies.
Yeah, you'd say sorry, and they'd say, go,
get there.
You're not running for no reason.
Do what you got to do. Online, ESPNTallahassee.com. If you miss anything, all 3 hours to be posted upon the conclusion of the show, both to iTunes and in your own audio vault. I think I said all of that. If I did not, there it is. By the way, hello, YouTubers. Today in the 5 o'clock hour, I look very much forward to this, a candid conversation, a lengthy conversation with Wrestling Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, who will be in town next week on the Unspoken Word Tales from the Road Tour, live at the Wilbury. Doors are opening at 8 o'clock. I'll let you know about tickets in a bit, but Jake is going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour and is prepared to talk about anything. And if you know anything about him, you know he will. And I look forward to it, and I think you'll like it. I don't think you even have to be a fan of wrestling to know that this will be interesting. These guys lead pretty interesting, fascinating, curious lives.
And you're not going to ask about the mechanics of how to pull off a power bomb or something like that.
I am not. I am going to ask about his life, which is fascinating, which has been documented through two different movies that I'm aware of. I've seen one and bits and pieces of the other. I know he likes one, doesn't like the other, but, we've seen Jake at his best in the ring and at his absolute worst off of it, and it'd be fascinating to talk to him. His story is pretty incredible, but he's gonna join us in the 5 o'clock hour. We figured we had to shake it up a little bit. I mean, how much can you talk about the disaster that is Florida State football right now? You can't do that every single day. Nothing changes today from yesterday other than, obviously, they are taking on a more hands-on approach at practice. Willie Taggart getting in there, and what else would you expect him to do at this point? It's all hands on deck. It's, as he said, everything's on the table. They have to look long and hard in the mirror about what they've done, what they haven't done, what they've been unable to communicate. The players have to do the same. Yesterday we talked of the players-only meeting, but when you come off a 30-7 ass-kicking at the hands of Syracuse, who I dare say, by season's end, I understand they're 3-0 currently, I promise you, you're going to see they're not any good. I think we all know that, right? So when you come off the heels of that game and you recognize you're averaging 5 points a game against FBS competition, and currently it's fascinating to me. There is an aspect of this that is fascinating. How do you hunker down, buckle up, and get the job done when, A, you're very limited personnel-wise on the offensive line, and B, the pressure nationally begins to mount? Your name is currently synonymous already with all of the things that have gone terribly wrong for a select number of teams to start the year. You'll hear the slow start that Chip Kelly's gotten off to at UCLA mentioned. You'll hear Scott Frost's name mentioned, but nobody's name is being mentioned more often right now in the negative light than Willie Taggart. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, UCLA as a program couldn't touch Florida State as a program with a 10-foot pole. People don't recognize UCLA as meaning much of anything in the world of college football. So getting off to a slow start there is, ho-hum, UCLA sucks again. Nebraska has been bad for years. They were terrible a year ago. They've been terrible for a long time. Mike Riley didn't do a damn thing there. And, basically you've got to go all the way back to the glory years of the 90s and very, very, very early 2000s to find a meaningful season for Nebraska football. And because of that, it's not surprising to see that the road back to respectability is going to be longer and more arduous. I think everybody understands that. Scott Frost, having been a former player on those great teams, having just proven himself through an undefeated season at UCF, is under no pressure early in his time at Nebraska to win football games. Florida State, shocking as it was, managed to go to a bowl last year, is not too far removed from being the national champions, having 10-win seasons. Even though 3 losses, 6 losses is a clear indicator that the program isn't in good shape and is a clear indicator that it was moving in the wrong direction. They were still winning seasons. They were still a team, I suppose, of note in the postseason. They're not too far removed from beating Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. That was a 3-loss team that beat Michigan. But they did in the Orange Bowl, and that's a bowl certainly deemed as historically significant. So Willie comes into a program in which there is skill. Certainly there are talented players at the skill positions. And the thought is, okay, things had grown stagnant under Jimbo. He'll breathe life into the program. They've got the talent that once they buy in, they'll be able to win some football games in year one. And even though they're not a national championship contender, they should probably win 8-9 games. Or so says most of the national pundits before the season begins. And then if you're looking at it from afar, all of a sudden you see they're 1-2. They barely beat. The one win they have is a narrow win over an FCS school in Sanford. They got embarrassed at noon for the country to watch by Syracuse, and they go, well, good Lord, Willie Taggart, this couldn't have got off to a worse start. And they're right, but they're not going to deep dive into the many reasons why. We do that locally. National pundits aren't going to do that. They don't have time to do that. They don't care. They're not inclined to do it. We are, whether that's a team on the rise or a team on the decline. We do it both ways. It's, hey, guys, I'm ringing the bell. We got problems here all those years ago. Or I'm a little disappointed in this, and this. And or it's the national media isn't ready for it, but Florida State's about to be really freaking good. And if Winston's who we think he is, they're going to win the national championship. That conversation, that chatter, didn't go national until maybe midway through that season. Perhaps it was after Florida State demolished Clemson and Herb Street said afterwards, I haven't seen a meaner, hungrier team in the country. And then all of a sudden they were on people's radar. But we were talking about it before that season that they're pretty loaded. They're pretty loaded. In fact, we thought the year before they might make a go of it, right?
Yeah.
So here we are. The pressure on Willie Taggart from the outside and the constant chatter and the mob mentality in a social media era in which the conversation never dissipates. You don't get to breathe. The losses are not only vetted, but rerun and talked about day in and day out until you give them something else to hang their hat on. And through 3 games, you've got nothing but poor performances. And even though we know, at best, with this offensive line, they might win 4 or 5 games, the national media isn't looking at it that way. They want to see Florida State, with their skill positions and the iconic spear on that helmet, go out and show, even for a moment, that they can still beat people badly. And if that doesn't happen, this will be the talk of the college football season in the negative. There will be, obviously, a lot of talk about just how dominant Alabama is and can anybody beat them, and now they have a real quarterback and all these other issues. But in terms of the negative, they're not going to talk about UCLA because nobody cares about UCLA. And they're not going to talk about Nebraska because they know the road to hoe there is a long one. They're going to talk about Florida State as the most disappointing team in the country, and they're going to talk about Willie Taggart and his staff as being the most under the gun immediately of any new staff in the country.
Yeah, it's a trailing effect. That's what they're always going to have because, they're not living here day to day. You may get a week where they're really good at stuff because they embed people here for a top 10 game, but fat chance that that's going to happen anytime soon. Probably not next year either, unless it's maybe the first game of the season or something along those lines. But I think part of it, too, is the follow-up. It's the follow-up to having a nationally televised game Monday night, Labor Day night, when they had a desk here for SportsCenter, when Fowler and Herbstreit called the game here in Tallahassee that Monday night and how disappointing that was. Everybody's looking for a challenger to Clemson in the way they're looking for a challenger to Alabama. And the SEC seems much more loaded with challengers. Hell, the Big 12 seems more loaded with challengers at this point in the season than the ACC does.
Maybe.
To usurp Clemson. Well, I mean, to see what Oklahoma State did to Boise State last week and, Texas to do what it did to USC, it at least gives you hope that somebody's possible.
Out there, yeah.
In the ACC, there is none. There is no hope.
No.
Nobody's.
No.
Boston College is the closest thing to a challenger to Clemson's throne right now.
Yeah, Miami would argue that they're wrong. They'll get blown out again if they play Clemson. I agree with you, but it is interesting. You're right. That they thought they were hoping, I think, in a way, because it's a more interesting storyline, that Florida State would have a little something to offer this year in the Atlantic Division, and then they didn't get it. And Louisville's not Louisville from a year ago because there is no marquee player like Lamar Jackson. Boston College is a good football team, very good football team, I think, and we knew that going in, but they are boring. They are what they are. So you're right.
Yeah, this is where we are now, which is advancing the discussion to what do you do with this mess? How do you make lemonade, right? And what does this coaching staff do to, one, boost morale and keep it on an even keel at least, if not, completely in the valley? And then two, how does the offense actually work?
Yeah, I just want to see a buy-in right now.
Because it's not working as the philosophy is drawing it.
No, they're going to go away from what they want to do ultimately. They're going to have to do that. So I don't know that it's going to be fair to try to get a read on this until we get late into the year where maybe they can add stuff to what they're trying to do now in the dial back, because this isn't going to resemble the offense he wants to run. And now I just need to see that you're bought in. The guys that are going out on the field are buying in and learning from their mistakes and getting better. You're flawed. You're going to get beat a lot. Until you can block it up, you can't beat anybody who's any good at all. That's true of almost anybody. That's especially true here this year with a catastrophic set of circumstances. With a unit up front that wasn't going to be the strength of the team to begin with, and then it got hurt.
You've got an injured line that was recruited to be pro style. I mean, look at their body types. They're built to be pro style, and they're below average at doing that. Yeah, and now you're trying to get them to run. And you're trying to get them to think and block without the help that a pro-style offense does. The help that it brings you week to week, the protections that it brings you week to week with a fullback or a tight end lined up on the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And so now the question becomes, are there pro-style elements coming? Because Willie knows those.
Oh, yeah, he grew up with those. That's what he wanted to run at USF. He had to actually do the opposite. He had to abandon his pro-style concepts from the Harbaugh days at USF and adapt and move on to the talent that he had there and find a way to make it work, and thus the Gulf Coast offense is born. He changes things to adapt to his personnel after trying to run, in essence, a pro-style offense. He scraps it, realizes it's not going to work. They're not buying in. We don't have the horses, so we're going to spread you out and play up tempo and utilize our athleticism. Here he comes, and he wants to spread you out and run up tempo and utilize your athleticism and tempo and pace and all those things, and then they can't block it up. And so now maybe you've got to go and revert back to the thing you were trying to do when you were at USF.
Well, and most importantly, too, outside of the offensive line, he's got a quarterback who doesn't know how to do it and make the decisions that even when they block it up correctly, are we doing the right things? Are we making the right choices? So, let's just say that they execute it 40% of the time. On 40% of the plays, they do it right. Well, if the quarterback's only able to read it correctly 15% of the time, and you got randomness of matching up when they're going to block it up, when they're not going to block it up, and the quarterback actually making the right decision, you could go through a whole game and have maybe two plays that
where
look
it all
like
lines up properly.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating, and that's why I do think you have to completely abandon it. All things, as he said, are on the table now. It does not going to change, of course, the fact that you, at best, are going to be average on a given day at the offensive line. But at the same time, you got to do something. Desperate times call for desperate measures. They want to see, we all do as fans, those measures being taken. We want to see something different. You cannot continue to roll out and do the same things you've been doing through 3 games, which has seen you score a grand total of 5 points against FBS defenses. And if we don't see those differences, then the criticism mounts and the voices grow louder and louder.
And they ask you to bake as you're watching this weekend at 3:30. Did you see that FAMU moved its game back 2 hours to a 6 o'clock kick because of a heat advisory?
Nicely done, Florida A&M.
Yes.
Way to think about the fans.
Yes, so it was a 4 o'clock kick against Savannah State for the MEAC opener this weekend. They said, no, the hell with that. Other than homecoming, we're going to do 6 p.m. kicks. It's hotter than Hades here. And for us...
Always has been.
Right. Noel grads who want to go to this game.
No sense in ever starting a game before 3 around here, although I get some.
Sneak in a flask and bring some eggs and crack them on the bleachers, and there you go. You got yourself a meal and some beverages.
It's a tough sell this week. They say ticket sales are brisk. We'll see. How many people go to that game? Over under 68,000.
Oh, it's Parents' Weekend, right? So you may get saved a little bit. But I think if you actually look at the kickoff photo, because it's not a nooner, so the student section will be what it is by kickoff, right? 50 to 55,000, I think. It's Northern Illinois.
And you're not winning.
And it's us.
And you haven't been winning.
And it's us.
Yeah, I would say, though, if you want to see a win, any win, this may be your last chance. I hope I'm wrong. Really hope I'm wrong. Would love to see a radical departure from where we were, just to give yourself a glimmer of hope that, hey, right now, can you tell me we have a fighting outside chance? With a win here, you get to 2-2, and you would then circle a select few games that might give you very, very outside, but an outside chance of getting to 6 wins. And that would be, obviously Louisville. It would be Wake. It would be NC State. Maybe Florida at the end of the year. They're not any good. So, that's what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, it's possible that we see another win the rest of the way. That's college football. Charlie Strong beat Oklahoma. Kansas beat Charlie Strong. And then Jimbo Fisher lost to a host of teams that we had absolutely no business losing to.
Including a singular win for Georgia Tech that year in the ACC.
That's what I'm saying. So it is possible. But, yes, if you want one that's likely, well, this is the most likely one right here. Ain't no doubt.
I hate saying that, but you can't say it any other way. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Seminole Auto Glass. High temperatures can cause that chip in your windshield to crack and spread, impacting your car safety and visibility. With Florida Full Coverage Insurance, windshield replacement is free, so choose the local company you know and trust. Seminole Auto Glass, 850-539-4527 or at SeminoleAutoGlass.com, because no one takes care of your car like Seminole Auto Glass.
The Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce, who's celebrating their 95th year in business this year, would like to recognize their newest members.
Hi, I'm Corey Melton, the Vice President of Membership, and I'm proud on behalf of the Chamber to welcome from August our newest members: Barbaritos, Capital News Service, Chase Bank, Chick-fil-A, Fuzzy's Taco Shop, Holiday Inn, Tallahassee East Capitol, KT Creative, Marquee Software Development, Medical Marijuana Treatment Clinics of Florida, Public-Private Partnership for Sustainable Communities, Silver Digital Media, Certera, Talquin Portable Restrooms, Bricks and Brass, Urban Air Tallahassee, and Vale Food Company.
The Chamber is proud to support over 1,400 local businesses representing over 60,000 employees. For information on how your business can be a part of the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce, contact Corey Melton at 850-521-3104.
Need a break this week? Rock by the Sea Charity Music Festival returns this weekend to beautiful St. George Island. Rock by the Sea features live music from Thursday night through brunch on Sunday. Enjoy artists including Steve Everett, The Currys, Megan Farrell, American Idol contestant Christian Lopez, along with local favorites The Brown Goose and Tobacco Road Band. Proceeds from Rock by the Sea will benefit the Franklin County Public Library. Music is a second language and Camp Sunshine. To register and for more details, including a Friday golf tournament, head to rockbythesea.org. That's rockbythesea.org.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Hello, radio friends. I'm here to tell you about Barbaritos. Our mission statement is farm fresh, so let's explain. We serve char-grilled, grass-fed beef, hormone-free chicken breasts, and grilled tofu for starters. Farm fresh means fresh avocados used to make guacamole, and tomatoes from the vine to craft fresh pico de gallo. Farm fresh means award-winning burritos, salads, and tacos customized for you. So come visit your local Barbaritos today and literally see for yourself. Barbaritos, we roll farm fresh.
Barbaritos, we make it fresh, you make it yours.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
The Rock by the Sea Charity Music Festival and Golf Tournament returns this weekend to beautiful St. George Island. Music starts Thursday night. That's tomorrow night with performances all the way through brunch on Sunday. Featured artists include Steve Everett, the Currys, Megan Farrell, and American Idol contestant Christian Lopez, along with local favorites the Brown Goose and Tobacco Road Band. Rock by the Sea Charity Golf Tournament takes place Friday, September the 21st at 9 a.m. at St. James Bay, and proceeds from this year's event will benefit three great causes: the Franklin County Public Library, Music as a Second Language, and Camp Sunshine, a summer camp for children with cancer. For details and registration information, please visit rockbythesea.org. It's Rock by the Sea starting this Thursday night in St. George Island. Good times. Yeah, a break from football, or at least Florida State football. I don't know. I'm not ready to take that break just yet. Lose this weekend, I'll be breaking the rest of the year.
Well, that's percentage chance of that in your mind right now. Dare I ask that question?
I like them to win big this weekend.
Okay.
I think Florida State wins big this weekend. What do you think of that?
I think that deserved a little bit of silence after it so everybody could comprehend what that means.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to, probably overly simplify in a way that just allows you not to continually run plays that end up negative yardage. I think they're going to move forward. I think basically, and that sounds simplistic. You're talking about listen, if you
from do something to move forward.
Yeah, let's matriculate the ball down the field, 2 yards at a time. Let's just try to play the field position. Play to your defense. Do some things that we didn't count on having to do. I think they'll, tighten up their splits and battering ram this thing and throw off a play action. I really do think that's all you can do. And I actually think if you do that, you'll win 4 games. And you may win 5. Just doing that. You've got talent at wide receiver. You've got talent at tight end. The defense is going to have to declare what they're doing. I mean, if they don't stack the box, stop the run, you're going to run the ball. It's not hard for fat asses to fire off the ball forward against a smaller team.
Correct.
It's
in
just
theory.
Not. It's just not.
In theory,
you
yes.
fire off the ball, that guy in front of you, and you know what? We'll get 3. 2nd and 7. Here we go. Because right now it's 2nd and 14 all the time.
If it were that easy, I think we'd already do it, though. because we've
I'm not
got a
saying
lot
you're
of
gonna
large
win
people.
Every possession, you're not going to win. It's not always going to go your way, but you're going to keep your quarterback out of harm's way more often than not, and you're going to have your moments where you're able to convert a few first downs, and you'll play to your defense. You'll flip field position. You'll get a short field. You'll wear people down, and at some point, when you've got a lot more talent than, say, Northern Illinois or maybe that's about it, Northern Illinois, you all of a sudden have a chance to, win 4 games. It's not a lot.
No, it's not. But right now, what percentage of the fan base would take it? I look away from you because I know the number would be pretty high, and it hurts.
What percentage of the fan base would take 4 wins right now as opposed to playing out the season and seeing if you could do better?
Yes.
That's a tough one. Yeah, you may be looking at a 50-50 proposition there. Because there are the fatalists who believe we won't win another game, including this Saturday's game, that would latch onto that in a heartbeat. And fans tend to be reactionary in a way that exceeds any level of rationalism.
I feel like if you project forward, that means that there's a decent shot we beat Florida at the end of the year.
There is a decent shot we beat Florida at the end of the year. I don't think they're very good. I think they're terrible.
Well, I agree.
So,
I've
yeah.
long been banging that drum, but I'm
Right.
saying that, in terms of appealing to people, I think that if you say that 4 wins is something that you could take right now, people aren't thinking we're going to beat Clemson. They're thinking, all right, well, at least we beat Florida this year.
Yeah, if you're going to project 4, you're predicting a win this weekend against Northern Illinois. That gets you to 2. You'll get a win against the likes of Louisville, Wake, NC State, Florida. You'll get 2 wins out of that group. I guess you could throw Boston College in there. I don't think we're going to beat Boston College, and I don't think we're going to beat Notre Dame, who I don't think is very good, but I don't think we're going to go on the road and beat Notre Dame.
Interesting game for Notre Dame this weekend on the road at Wake Forest.
It is an interesting game, and I gave that stat the other day about Notre Dame's last 5 games and how they're basically all 22-17, 24-17, 21-17. Literally, they're just every week.
They like to play low-scoring games, and Wake Forest
Low-scoring,
wants to
close
run,
games, yeah.
And Wake wants to run 100 plays.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting clash of styles.
It's funny, too, because Wake is a good example of how, listen, now they had no choice. You go in with a coach, and he comes in and inherits a mess. They had 0 offensive line, literally the worst offensive line in the country. We recall the David Hale conversation. We cracked up laughing where he asked the coach about the offensive line of the running game, and he said, well, it's unacceptable. We're dead last in the country. Like, he didn't, sure, we're last. You can't be worse than we are. We are last. And they didn't have anybody that could block. And the question was then, what do you do? What do you do? Well, he stuck with it and recruited offensive linemen, and now they're actually entertaining. And for Wake, they are what they are. They're a pretty good football team.
I didn't realize that they were missing their quarterback last week on a suspension, so he comes back to play Notre Dame.
Yeah, so clearly you're going to lean towards the Notre Dame. I mean the Wake Forest side of this wager.
Well, the number is 7.5. I just that hook is quite valuable.
It
I
is
think.
quite valuable.
If Notre Dame's not going to play anybody and beat them, Vandy, Ball State, nobody. If they're not going to blow anybody out and they're going to have to sweat fourth quarters where teams are coming back late, Wake Forest is certainly capable offensively of giving them a little bit of a scare.
I would think so, yeah. I would think they certainly could. Yeah, that's where you find yourself right now. It's another sign that it's so frustrating in that you are more intrigued by the plot lines, storylines of other teams in other conferences as well as other so-called underlings in your own conference.
That's what I was doing today. I was looking at NFL stuff, and I was looking at college football recaps and stuff that I missed over the weekend that have nothing to do with us. You know that Indiana blew out Ball State last week? And Notre Dame couldn't notch a 2-score win over Ball State?
Yeah, I know.
And Notre Dame had to sweat it out against Vandy last week?
Did you know that Sanford lost to Mercer?
Did they really?
Yes.
Let me guess, Hodges completed like 30% of his passes.
I didn't look at the numbers. I just know they lost.
Oh, my God. To Mercer, the school in Macon. Okay.
That's a toughie. That's a toughie.
Back to staring at the wall.
Yeah, we are a meme. We are a meme. There you go, folks who get mad at me. You're right. I was pronouncing it like an old man who didn't know what it was. We are a meme that is Kermit just staring back and the head nodding with Christian Bale.
Yep, or the other one, sipping on that iced tea.
Sipping on that iced tea, looking off in the distance. Yeah.
It'll be winter soon.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
With the Bloomberg Business of Sports report, I'm Michael Barr. Ratings generally have been up for the NFL through the first 2 weeks of the schedule. CBS scored its best opening NFL doubleheader game rating in 3 years, with the highest-rated window Sunday on any network, Patriots at Jaguars and Raiders at Broncos in late afternoon. The network drew a household rating of 14 and an audience share of 28, up 1% from last year. There is word some NFL Hall of Famers have threatened to skip the annual induction ceremony unless the league agrees to provide them health insurance and an annual salary. It's a radical shift in Formula One. F1 has a deal for more than $100 million to sell sponsorships to betting companies. Liberty Media, the group controlled by billionaire John Malone, which acquired the race car series in 2016, has signed a contract with Interregional Sports Group, a London-based marketing agency, for global rights to gambling sponsorships in F1. And that is a Bloomberg Business of Sports report. I'm Michael Barr.
At Dell, we know running a small business takes hard work. As a thank you, during the Dell annual sale, we're offering up to 40% off select PCs with Intel Core processors and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-BUY-DELL to speak with a small business technology advisor today. That's 877-BUY-DELL. Special financing available to qualified business customers when using Dell Business Credit. Go to Dell.com/DBC promos for details.
When posting on most job sites, you get candidates.
I'm the sales director.
I'm the sales director
you're looking for.
But when you post on Indeed.com, you get the candidates just right for you.
I'm a sales director with an MBA, over 10 years experience, who's also fluent in Japanese.
With Indeed, you can add screener questions for a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates.
Arigato.
Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Roofing is rewarding, but it's not exactly a bed of roses. It's a very dirty job, subject to the environment, working on 98-degree summer days, dodging rainstorms, working on steep slopes like a mountain goat. At Parker Brothers, our skilled workers have chosen this challenging trade as their career choice. These are the people that you want working on your roof. We've been servicing the community since 1995. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
CGC 042221, CCC 049350.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
You know what? It's time you level up your lemon lime with clear, refreshing Mountain Dew Ice. We get it. You're used to a certain kind of lemon lime experience. But why settle for this when you could have this? You want a fist bump that ends in one of those fake explosions?
Hey, Charles.
Or a fist bump that ends in an actual explosion?
Hey, Charles.
Want to pull up to the party on this? Or arrive in this? Take this last-second shot? Or make the last-second shot? Make this musical request? Or this one? So yeah, you can keep drinking the same old, but we think you'll like the exploding fist bump, last-second shot, showing up to the party properly way to lemon lime, right? Mountain Dew Ice. Clear, refreshing lemon lime, redefined.
With football season in full swing, don't forget about fishing our local waterways after the games. Fish are still biting regardless of the score. Sea Quarters Marina, Carabel, Florida. Open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The marina has a ship store, which includes fuel, bait, tackle, ice, and all of your fishing supplies for the trip. Both diesel and non-ethanol fuel is available. Free Wi-Fi and pump out with boat slip rental. Sea Quarters Marina, 501 St. James Avenue, Carabel, Florida, 697-8400. Visit them online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Saturday, it's a Pac-12 Top 25 matchup as the 20th ranked Oregon Ducks host the 7th ranked Stanford Cardinal. Hi, this is Ryan Radke of Westwood One. Join Derek Rackley and me for all the action from Eugene, Oregon. Quarterback Justin Herbert and the Ducks have been prolific at scoring so far, but now face a top 10 Cardinal team with a stingy defense and an offense led by running back standout Bryce Love. If it's NCAA college football, it's right here.
On 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's sports monster. Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Up just to let you know that Mercer-Samford game was 30-24, Tom, and Hodges was very good. 30 of 41, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns to just 1 pick. Samford couldn't get a stop against Mercer and did their defense. The Bulldogs' defense gave up 316 yards passing to Mercer's quarterback, Riddle, who went 23 of 34 for 316 yards.
So he was good, but he wasn't Florida State good, is what you're saying for Mr. Hodges?
Yeah, but the McKnight kid for Samford did have 10 receptions for 104 yards and a touchdown.
So he wasn't Florida State good for 2 bills or whatever he was?
Yeah, no. Tough deal there, huh?
It is a tough deal that Mercer did a better job of defending that passing offense.
Well, damn it, man. I know, around every turn, right? Crazy story here for LSU, who's gotten off to such a great start and has to be thrilled with the way their season is going early on. But prosecutors have added criminal charges of possession of child pornography against LSU wide receiver Drake Davis. Not a story you often read in terms of players and transgressions with the law in college football. He was arrested on Sunday morning for the second time in the last month after his girlfriend accused him of domestic battery to boot. Problems there. He was arrested for a felony August the 17th. I'm going to imagine that if, in fact, he's guilty of these charges, he's done dealing and going to spend an awful long time in prison. We'll see if LSU keeps rolling or not.
Say hi to Jared.
I was going to say that's ooh. You just don't see that headline.
No, that's weighty stuff there.
That's very weighty stuff right there. Speaking of headlines that are kind of fun in the football world, and that's not one of them, but this one would be in terms of headlines. The story out of New England, which continues to be that of, it's pretty obvious Bill Belichick and Tom Brady hate each other. I mean, that's what that's done. And I will give credit earlier in the afternoon, if you were listening to the Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gatz, they got into this conversation. I am intrigued by the sort of male soap opera-ness of all of this. You know, that in truth, New England's been the organization which defies the logic of the league. That is a salary cap league. It doesn't make any sense that one team could dominate a league for as long as they have in a league that's built around going 500. That's what that is, right? You're not supposed to be dominant, save for short stretches of a time. It's one of the reasons that fans love the league is that if you're terrible, you can be good in a year. Like 1 year from now, you can be really good. And you can go right back to sucking. So you've got to really appreciate when you're good and understand that you ought not be terrible forever the way Cleveland is, and you probably won't be dominant forever the way New England is. You know, it's a league, again, built around going 8-8. It's a salary cap league. But one of the reasons that New England consistently seems to outfox the rest and outwit all of the others is that they have had a head coach and a quarterback, both Hall of Famers, as well as being a world-class organization to work for and a credo and a mantra that is bought into the second you walk onto those facilities, on the grounds of those facilities. But how much success over elongated periods of time does it take before people begin to argue over credit? Before people begin to make arguments that help shape their legend? And do those lines get crossed to where a divorce is necessary? And Bill Belichick, The Making of the Greatest Football Coach of All Time, is a book that Ian O'Connor wrote, which makes me roll my eyes because screw Ian O'Connor. But this item is rather juicy. Quote, one New England assistant said the general feeling among staff members around the time was that Belichick's system could make Super Bowl quarterbacks out of all 32 starters in the league. If you gave us any of the top 15, we could certainly do it, said one assistant. I don't think the coaches view Tom as all that special. Not certainly as everybody else does. Mr. Kraft thinks Tom is the greatest gift ever, but we coaches, we certainly don't. Well, hey now.
Which assistant was that?
I think it was Bill Belichick. I mean, that is a complete slap in the face. That's a 5-time Super Bowl winner, an MVP in 4 of the 5. Sucks. Anybody could do it. Matt Castle won 11 games for us.
Well, that is a fact.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it may not be like the driving point to win an argument, but it is a fact.
It is a fact, yeah. 15 other quarterbacks? Really? 15? No. That's pretty disrespectful.
If you played the game, though, how many would you get to? 7, 8?
Well, Aaron Rodgers would easily win those Super Bowls, too, because he's better than Tom Brady. So you can start with that.
Breeze
would easily win those Super Bowls. I would argue Roethlisberger would have. Start getting a little dicey after that. I mean, how many other guys would you look at and say they're going to win
How about
Super Bowls? All of those.
In his prime, Phillip Rivers, because that's this period of time.
I think so, yeah. He's elite. Yeah, he's been elite. He's just been on bad teams, sure.
They were kind of probably done after that. I mean, Eli Manning, no. He just gets hot. That doesn't mean he's consistent.
He gets hot at the right time.
Peyton, obviously, in that time was.
Peyton certainly would have. Yeah, he would have.
Brett Favre was playing in that time. Well, he almost took Minnesota to the.
He did, but then he cost them dearly with the thing that he does.
After he was, 30.
I know he was brutalized, but, man, that throw was just that throw. That's who he is, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
He reverted back to it because he was 40% dead.
We've had a lengthy interview with Brett Favre, and we enjoyed it, but he did admit to having been beaten to hell. And so maybe there was no.
You hear boxing fatalists talk about how many years a fight will take off of somebody's life.
Yeah,
that game took the most out of Brett Favre of any game he ever played.
I remember seeing an Aaron Pryor fight thinking he'll be dead at 40. I mean, I have to appreciate what this man is willing to lay on the line here. It's unbelievable.
Be like Salamanca in Breaking Bad, ringing a bell for everything.
Which was awesome. Ding, 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 ding.
Buddy,
ding.
I'm just saying, there might be an origin story about that kind of stuff, and Better Call Saul.
I'd have to check it out, and I will. But I also now, you got me. That's a slimy thing, Ian, but I'm going to read the book. I now want to know how many Patriots players and assistants are willing to slam Tom Brady in the name of loving Bill Belichick. Or vice versa. Do we get some on the other side that say, good thing Tom Brady was here because Bill Belichick would be an average-ass coach just like he was in Cleveland before Tom Brady came along.
I wonder how average he would have been, though. I mean,
he would have been great. He's a great coach.
That Football Life documentary about Cleveland before all the distractions of moving.
They were winning in Cleveland.
They were
moving
in the right direction.
They were completely moving in the right direction. No, he's a great coach. There's no getting around it. He's a scoundrel, but,
He wouldn't be 5 Super Bowls great, though.
No, because Tom Brady's awesome.
He won the first couple kind of with his ingenuity, especially that first one.
They won on defense. They won on defense.
People forget that now.
It was completely all defense. They won that Super Bowl on.
It would be akin to the Bulls winning their first title because, Jordan averaged 12 a game and they were the number 1 defensive team.
Right.
Because, Brady wasn't the reason.
We have a bad habit as sports fans in general, really fans of anything to do in the culture, of wanting to deflect away attention and kudos and platitudes to players who stay good for too long. They annoy us eventually, and we just tear them down, and we want to pick at their legend, certainly pick at their individual accomplishments, and find a way to appropriate those somewhere else. Oh, well, it was this, or it was this. I mean, it happens to almost any player or coach that goes on to have a Hall of Fame resume and or win an inordinate number of games compared to his competitors. We're always trying to detract from that, and that's unfortunate.
Well, I think one of my frustrations, and the reason I do a little bit of this, is because the legend grows such that we forget that Joe Montana ever threw an interception, that Brady ever did.
They become something larger than life.
Right, exactly. What was the example 2 weeks ago for Aaron Rodgers? Sunday Night Football, one of the great games of his career, and he's hopped up on goofballs for that entire half of football. There's an interception to end the game. It's a terrible throw.
Is it the Tillman drop?
It was him
Tillman.
Or Fuller. Yeah.
It was Tillman. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's in his breadbasket. It's a terrible decision. Game over. It was a nice story while it lasted, but it's all about the Bears and Khalil Mack, and that's what the storyline would have been. But the guy dropped it. So now we forget that play ever existed and multiply that times 1,000 for Super Bowl victories.
But great players, when given a second chance, make the most of those opportunities so that you have to forget that almost happened because they went on to throw a touchdown pass with the game on the line. And average players don't. That play, they survive, and they don't lead a touchdown drive every time that they get a second chance. So in some ways, you can still work it into the greatness narrative without saying that was a terrible throw. You can say, well, everybody does that. But he's the guy that when given that second chance, if you don't make him pay, will always score. And I think there's something to that too.
Sure. I think that's a better argument to make than one that, that Jordan was, he was always going to win the game.
No, he missed plenty of shots.
Exactly.
Plenty of big shots. Plenty of game buzzer-beating shots.
So when we're watching, because what I think that does, if you keep reminding yourself about that, what happened in the 80s and the 90s with Montana, Jordan, it allows you to better enjoy when somebody is currently doing something great, because you're always going to look at it and say, well, he's not as good as that player because he failed doing these 5 things. Well, you've forgotten that Jordan failed or Montana failed or Brady had moments where he looked very human in his career. Derek Jeter had moments where you thought his career was absolutely over. I mean, there's a lot of flaws for every one of the greats that we think now were, infallible.
Yeah, well, partly because, again, we all engage in some form of revisionist history, for starters, and secondly, heroification. And the heroification process actually does a disservice to those players. Remembering them to be something extraordinary that they weren't doesn't give them proper credit for their humanity, who they were, what they had to overcome, their deficiencies. It doesn't note those things that they then found a way to work around and use to their advantage.
Right. I think, and that's part of the highlight culture, too. And that started with SportsCenter in the 90s. But I think that remembering that and stating that, I think is also, like you're saying, a better representation of when that margin is there and it's really slim. They ended up on the right side of the margin so many more times than they had any right to.
Right.
It's like calling a coin flipping in the air the right way, and you forced it by will to do so. That's the greatness factor. I mean, the first 3 of New England Super Bowls, right, were all razor-thin margins. You're talking about a kick and a tuck rule against Oakland, followed by a kick to win the game.
Well, the tuck rule is a huge deal because if that doesn't happen, a lot of dominoes fall, including John Gruden staying with Oakland.
You're talking about overtime or just before overtime, the Vinatieri kick against Carolina.
Which is insane. Vinatieri's got a lot of those I'll-take-my-pants-off moments.
And Philly's got the ball with what? Either a chance to tie or win. I forget what it was. It's a one-possession game. I mean, shoot,
Yeah.
These things are all, a couple of plays changes the way we talk about that person forever, yet what they did or didn't do isn't any different at all.
Imagine the way we would talk about DeLome.
He had a 2-year run for the ages, didn't he?
And he had a game for the ages with it all on the line, as improbable as it were. I mean, there's a little bit of Nick Foles and DeLome and vice versa, basically, what we've just seen,
My favorite example is Larry Fitz against Pittsburgh. That was one of the greatest performances of. If he makes that tackle on James Harrison,
you got to make that tackle
at the end of the first half. But I mean, there he is. They take the lead, and he comes up with the biggest catch in the biggest of moments.
The difference is that Fitzgerald is a first ballot Hall of Famer and goes down in history as one of the greatest receivers of all time, whereas Jake Delhomme is forgotten by everybody.
100% true. But if Larry Fitz wins that Super Bowl, and these are his moments that won that Super Bowl,
right?
Then you remember him quicker in the discussion about Randy Moss or Jerry Rice. You bring up Larry Fitzgerald a lot faster in that moment because of what he did in the Super Bowl. What he did or didn't do didn't change. It's just that Big Ben went down the other end of the field.
And made perfect pass after perfect pass.
Yeah.
Including the most perfect pass to win a Super Bowl I've ever seen. That throw, not once but twice, I mean, that's a ridiculous throw.
One of my favorite sporting events in history was a hockey series between the Lightning and the Flyers, and it was basically a great team, an all-time great team, against one player. And this one player almost won his best of 7, where he's only on the ice for a third of the game by himself. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Nobody will ever talk about that again.
You just saw it to some degree last year with Washington.
But he won, so now people will talk about Ovechkin.
Yeah, and Ovechkin, he was not going to end his career without a title, and he decided this past year this was the time.
We're not going to be f***ing sucked this year. We're the Stanley Cup champions! Yeah!
Good for you, dude. You get that forevermore, and you earned it in a way that few ever have because you said, no. Nope. I'll die on this ice, but we're taking that thing home. Yeah! And that's crazy because not everybody can go there, and that's a different conversation about greatness. To reach a place where you decide that the time, it's ticking. The sun, it's setting high. I don't have too many runs left in these legs.
Yep.
And I've decided there's just enough around me right now that if I decide to end my career by going through the kind of physical exhaustion that it's going to take to run through these playoffs or to come back from a deficit, that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it now. And you will watch by force of will one player decide, no, that's mine.
It's an individual sport, but in hindsight, that's Tiger in 2008 at the U.S. Open.
It's crazy,
on
right?
On one leg.
No, I'm taking this home. You are not taking this.
I'm taking pain pills, and I'm taking the trophy. That's what I'm doing.
Yes, and I'm going to Perkins immediately following all of this.
Rocco, everything's on me. Come on, buddy.
And I might note that there is perhaps brewing an interesting storyline that is indeed salacious and ought to be beneath us, but Dustin Johnson is emerging again. All of those whispers off the course that have followed him since 2009 are back at it, as Paulina Gretzky has removed him from her Instagram page, all pictures of the two of them, and rumors that he has a hard time keeping it
in the fairway.
And now a lot of this is set to come out, allegedly. Going to be a good time because we know Dustin's got some backstory now.
We're going to lose this Ryder Cup next week, aren't we?
Dustin, slipped at the Masters, missed the most important tournament of the year a season ago.
Yeah, he fell down the steps.
Sure he did. Yeah, he fell down the steps. One of the great athletes in our game today slipped down the steps.
Living life in the fescue.
Indeed. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
reliable professionals, Widden's top-of-the-line bath and shower enclosures provide style and luxury at an affordable price. With the holidays coming, that means family, and that means now is the time to shower up with style.
Call today. Widden Glass, the real glass people. 222-5781 or online at widdenglass.com. WHIDDON. Widden, Tallahassee's first family in glass since 1945. 222-5781.
Having telecommunications service means one thing: staying connected. At AT&T, we know that some Americans face life every day without the comfort and security of having a phone or broadband service. That's why AT&T offers Lifeline. In certain areas, eligible customers may qualify for a Lifeline discount, which provides reduced monthly rates for broadband or phone service with optional toll blocking at no extra charge. Additional discounts may apply to those living on federally recognized tribal lands. To find out more about the Lifeline discount and other AT&T products and services, call AT&T at 1-800-288-2020 or visit att.com/lifeline if you have access to the internet.
Lifeline is a government benefit program, and willfully making false statements to obtain this benefit is punishable by fine or imprisonment and could result in termination of Lifeline service. Lifeline enrollment requires certain eligibility documentation and is non-transferable. Limited to one discount per household. AT&T services, including Lifeline, are not available in all areas. Other restrictions apply.
You smell that?
I smell football.
No, dude, that's mellow mushroom.
Football season is in the air, and Mellow Mushroom is cooking up all their favorites to help you do tailgating right. Don't drag out that grill and cooler. Just load up your tailgate crew and leave the preparations to them. With daily food and drink specials, plus loads of TVs and cool AC, the closest place to the stadium is also the best spot in town. Come before the game to fill up on homemade pizza, subs, and calzones, or come after to celebrate another Seminole victory with a full bar, huge selection of domestic, import, and craft beers, and a restaurant full of passionate Seminole fans.
Did you know that propane-powered clothes dryers outperform electric models in energy efficiency, drying time, and garment protection? So dry your clothes more efficiently with propane. Propane water heaters give you more hot water at a more affordable price. Compared to electric, energy-efficient propane water heaters can reduce your energy costs significantly. For more information, call AmeriGas Propane here in Tallahassee at 877-1122.
Hi, I'm Chris York with Monogram Art. While our name mentions monograms, we are a lot more than that. We offer a full line of corporate apparel to businesses and organizations, and we carry clothing brands such as Cutter & Buck, Nike Golf, Port Authority, and caps from Richardson, Outdoor Cap, Ahead, Yupong, and many more. We have the ability to create custom embroidered apparel that your employees will be proud to wear. So swing by our showroom at 2522 Capitol Circle Northeast or find us online at monogramart.com. Let us help you wear your brand.
Looking for a new place to watch your favorite sporting events? Hobbit American Grill with 3 locations to choose from. Just show them your stub. That's right, your ticket stub from any local sporting event for $1 pints and $3 crafts. BOGO Mondays every Monday with 50% off specials. Like or follow on Facebook to get all the details. PS4 tourneys, trivia, karaoke, darts, and more. Lots of daily lunch specials under $8. Happy hour specials daily and happy hour all day on Friday. The Hobbit American Grill.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Steelers wideout Antonio Brown returned to the team facility today. Ben Roethlisberger spoke with Brown and said he's not taking anything personally. Brown was upset with his role in the offense Sunday and then didn't show up on Monday. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports new Patriots wideout Josh Gordon is on the practice field today for the first time with his new team. The Patriots made a trade with the Browns this week to get Gordon. Bengals running back Joe Mixon says he has a slight tear in the meniscus in his right knee. He'll miss at least the next 2 games after a cleanup procedure on that knee last Saturday. The 4th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes play at home Saturday against Tulane. Head coach Urban Meyer will be back on the Buckeyes sideline after a 3-game suspension. ESPN's Kirk Herbstreit.
The last 2 games, Urban Meyer has been allowed to be with the team except for the game. And so if you wouldn't have told me what was going on, I would have thought this is just a normal Wednesday practice with Ohio State. Myers was as involved as he's ever been coaching the team and then addressing the team post-practice. So I don't necessarily think for the players it's going to be a drastic change.
Kirk Herbstreit on Golick and Wingo. Lakers guard Lonzo Ball won't be ready for full contact practice when training camp starts next week. Ball is coming back from arthroscopic left knee surgery in July. The Pelicans cut center Emeka Okafor, who made an NBA comeback with the team last season. And 37-year-old Sue Bird of the Seattle Storm will play on a record 5th USA Basketball World Cup team. 2 of her Storm teammates will also be in Spain, Breanna Stewart and Jewel Lloyd. The tournament starts on Saturday.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Hope you're well. And we're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. By the way, you want to email the show, feel free, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. You can find us on Twitter at JCameron Show. Also, if you want to Periscope the program at 979 ESPN Radio on YouTube, it's ESPN Tallahassee. Hello, YouTubers. That's a good thing. Yeah, I think everything's caught up there. We did everything right. I would note, happy, should I say happy? I don't know, Yom Kippur. Is that the right way to say it? Happy?
I don't know.
Acknowledge it.
I'll plead ignorance on that one.
A Day of Atonement. I know that. A Day of Atonement. It's a day off for a lot of people. And so if you're listening to the program, we appreciate you. Enjoy your day off.
I know it's the second mention today, but did you hear Stu Gotz's attitude towards Yom Kippur?
No, what did he say?
So he fasts. He doesn't eat during it, but you're not supposed to go to work.
No, you're not. Yeah.
So they were ripping on him today, saying, all you do is complain about the food. He got banished at the end of the show. But if you're actually following this day the way that it's supposed to be followed, you wouldn't be here at work and fasting.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fasting and a day of atonement and repentance and again, I'm not Jewish, but I think prayer and all of that. So, yeah, he wasn't following.
He's taking a half measure, and it was the more difficult half. Most people would just take the day off and then eat if they were going to go half measure.
Yeah, do whatever
you know
what
I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But let's get to crack-a-lackin' here and reminding you that in the 5 o'clock hour today, a special treat. Look forward to bringing it to you. It's going to be fun. Our interview. My interview with Jake the Snake Roberts, Hall of Fame wrestler and a guy that's on a spoken word tour around the country now where he answers questions and regales the audience with tales from over 30 years in the ring. And also some incredibly, I guess I would say heart-wrenching stories to go along with it. His life has been fascinating, brutal, sad, and at times, probably, especially at the highlight of his career where he was at the apex, rewarding. But he's going to be in town, and they reached out to us, and so we had a chance to sit down and talk with him. It's a fascinating, fun conversation.
He's the type of personality that is less afraid, I think, of talking about things than he was taking on big people in the ring and risking life and limb in a sense.
He did take on some big people, including Andre the Giant.
Right. The injuries that you can suffer, real or not, pro wrestling.
Yeah.
The injuries you can suffer are life-threatening.
Catastrophic.
Yes.
Willie Taggart taking the time to coach at the end of the Syracuse game and teach his linebacker, Dontavius Jackson, that you got to take on blocks, as a story Irish FL wrote about on warchant.com, to give credit where credit's due. I do think it would speak to, especially what's happened post that game and the days of practice this week, his attitude towards and his approach towards getting past this horrific start and the pressures that begin to mount because of it, which is to put your head down and go to work and continue to be the teacher that you've always been hoping to correct these mistakes after losses as well as after wins or during games in a way that eventually wins everybody over. And we talked about him when he was hired as being a guy that people would run through fire for. They respected and loved because they felt as if he cared deeply about them and could relate to them because he's so young. A former player himself and a quarterback, not too far removed from being on the gridiron and growing up in a tough town, all that stuff made him more relatable. And, you wonder when that all takes hold, but it's good to see, I think, that that's the approach. That isn't one of desperation, that's consistency. Now, would you say that it's desperate to then have him micromanaging every aspect of the team? Perhaps that is a reaction to all of the things that have gone awry, but it's no different, at least in the methodology, in the way that he coaches when they are winning games, which I think is important.
Yeah, but I think here's the fun part for people who, like me, are lost Acadians, and so you're only experiencing, the second coaching hire at Florida State that you've ever seen. And for most people, actually, that's kind of true. Since Bobby Bowden was hired in the mid-'70s, and Willie Taggart is the third full-time coach since Bobby Bowden was hired. But I want to see the parallels between the micromanaging nature of what Jimbo Fisher did the first couple of years he was here at Florida State trying to flip the program and what Willie Taggart is doing too. Does it change him in terms of his personality, the way he approaches the public, the media? Does it change his demeanor on the sidelines, game day to game day? Because remember what Jimbo did when he got here, and in 2010 it was his first season, he hired a bunch of recruiters and figured, I'll do most of the rest myself.
I'll do everything else, even if it exhausts me, which it did. Right.
I wonder if Willie Taggart is now facing that reality, even though he thought he had more than a bunch of recruiters. Maybe that's the reality of his situation, and how does he react to being in a similar circumstance as Jimbo Fisher, where maybe you got recruiters first and coaches second, and then a talent deficiency in some places where you need to micromanage in a whole bunch of different places that you weren't anticipating.
When do you delegate? To how many people? To whom do you delegate, I should say, for example? Whom do you trust on this staff? Who's earned that for you? Harlan Barnett? Sure, I think without question. Doing his job. Walt Bell? Maybe? I don't know. Probably. I think Walt Bell has the most experience and the most successful runs of any of these guys that we're talking about.
A quick question on that, because we've talked about this off the air. Receivers not lining up right. Is that on Kelly or Walt Bell? Because Walt Bell is kind of the operations manager of that offensive everything.
I'm going to go with that's on Kelly because he didn't want to be a receivers coach. He came here for something different and had to be convinced to take on that role, and he's been removed from the field, and I think that there's been a disconnect there. I don't know. We're not allowed to watch all of these practices every day, so it would be unfair of me to label across the board to any of these guys, but I know what their title is, and I know the segments that are struggling. So I would imagine Willie Taggart at this point is paying close attention to the wide receivers and their alignment issues, close attention to the offensive line and hovering over Greg Fry, which I'm sure is no joy for him.
Well, I think you have officials coming to practice and you say, hey, I need you to be like 1940s Germany about what we're doing here in terms of lining up. I want, even if it's in doubt, throw a flag, because clearly after an example against Samford, where we lined up wrong on a big play for us, an
huge
explosive.
Play. Yeah, McKitty play, yeah.
It happens again?
On another big play, and McKitty makes a great catch down around his ankle top, yeah.
Moreover, we had 5 guys in the backfield, because if you looked, go back and look at that, too.
That's crazy. They could have called it almost every time.
Right guard, right tackler, basically standing behind Alec Eberle. I mean, you got to find an official in practice to say, all right, guys, I'm sorry, I know this is the 6th time in a row, but it is also the 6th time in a row that you're not following the rules.
We ruminated yesterday about what it would be that they would search and go to, and what buttons they would try to push, and what could you do given how limited you are up front. And the answer seems to be across the board in any situation. And certainly I remember coaches saying this, and so it doesn't surprise me that Derek Brooks brought this up, that his coaches did the same thing, which is when in doubt, you go back to the fundamentals. You go back to the very things that are at the root of everything that you do. Just the simple aspects of playing the game, the position, running the offense, whatever it might be. You make sure that you have dotted your I's and crossed your T's about the fundamentals. In the case of Dontavius Jackson, he's talking to him, even in a game that you end up losing 30-7, about taking on a lead block that forces a running back to have to take a different route. likely into the waiting arms of another defender. But by going around that block, you created a clear, direct path to the end zone for Syracuse's final score. So now you're down 30-7. The game is out of reach. The game is over. And rather than sit around and pout about it, he waits patiently on the sidelines for Jackson to come over and then calmly explains to him why that's unacceptable. Harlan Barnett has done the same. I appreciate that. Now, I hope that above and beyond appreciation, we see it translate into winning plays. And winning plays eventually add up to winning games. Not many of them this year because of the problems that you do have that you can't work around, but you can still do things fundamentally sound. You can still do things the right way and then go get better players. But in the interim, you cannot compound the problems and give yourself zero chance of winning a football game, let alone keeping one close, by doing everything fundamentally flawed in addition to having those problems.
Yeah, I think the hard part here is trying to kind of pinpoint where the players' confidence issues begin or end, and vice versa. Where does the coaching deficiency begin or end? Because this team, there's a lot of places where they don't look like they're well coached. And you wonder if that's because the game is moving so fast for the players that they're just overwhelmed and they're making poor decisions. Lining up being one of those examples. Post-whistle fouls, I mean, you got 3 of them in the first half of this game on Saturday. Any coach, you talk about it on Monday, and you said, if we watch any other team in America, we say, what's going on? They are poorly coached. That's 3 personal fouls after the whistle. What the hell is going on?
Well, and the reason that is more maddening than it normally would be is that you're not equipped to overcome those kinds of transgressions. A lot of your best teams, and we're not one, have these same problems all the time, but their talent is such that they overcome the kind of stupid mental errors that you see in a football game that oftentimes athleticism and depth of talent allow for a team to just not only overcome it, but win going away. So we forget about those moments. Some of Florida State's teams in the 90s that dominated people, Miami and all of those teams, were the most penalized teams in the country. But they were so talented and they were so on the edge. They just beat your ass, and it didn't really matter if you got another first down because of a penalty. I mean, you just weren't going to be good enough to overcome all the other things. This team's not that, and they're not even close. So when you do that and you're not any good, well, then you get buried by Syracuse. And that, that's why, and we're hypersensitive to it because we were doing this last year, and we were doing this the year before, and we were doing this the year before. And those things did cost us games, especially games against teams that had no business being on the field with Florida State. And yet, because the team would go 9-3 and win a bowl game and go 10-3 or something, you'd go, well, I wish we played smarter, but we're consistently one of the best 20 teams in the country, so be it. When you're not and you play dumb, all of those mistakes are accentuated.
Well, you're absolutely right. Everything matters more when you're losing in general. Like, even little things in life matter more. You get more mad about them because you're angry overall.
Traffic is worse than it was.
It is. Yeah, yes. 100, like waiting for a beverage.
Yeah.
Is like,
come on, man.
Any day now. It's been 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hold on for a minute. I understand that you're mad. But the problem is when you see each facet of the game, each phase of the game, take turns doing it. I mean, if it's not a late hit, it's the Hamsa play where on the punt, it's the decision by the coaching staff to decline. I mean, we've been through it. We listed all these things. Yeah. But when you're getting hit from all angles with it, like, I could almost handle more if the defense was guilty of penalties and the offense was guilty of not being able to block it up, and these were very separate issues. But it seems to permeate all phases of the game. And so you feel overwhelmed as a fan saying, can I hang my hat on anything other than being in 2nd and 12? Because I'd love to be able to do that.
Hang my hat on something that gives us a chance to win a damn football game. Hey, listen, here's the good news. Good news indeed. Starting tomorrow, here's your deal. Centrale offering 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. That's what's going on in College Town. Township, Taco Thursday. $2 tacos. I love tacos. You got me. I love tacos. What are you going to do? Madison Social offers the social agreement. You and a buddy can split an order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof ales, and what do we get? $40 for all of that? That's next to nothing. Fit for all ages. Parking has been solved. That has been the problem in College Town for a lot of people who say, I don't want to venture over there. Parking sucks. I'm not getting towed or a ticket just so I can go in and have a beverage, man. Well, you don't have to worry about that now because parking is free. No hassle. Great food and service. Visit Thursdays in College Town for more details. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Thursday, September 27th at the Wilbury in Tallahassee. Join WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Jake the Snake Roberts on his Unspoken Word, Tales from the Road Tour. Jake the Snake tells hilarious stories from his days in the ring with Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and more from the golden age of wrestling. Then follows it up with an audience Q&A. Doors open at 8 p.m. Advance tickets on sale online at ticketfly.com and in town at Retrofit Records, Midtown Pies, Big Chief Smoke Shop, and the Wilbury. Jake the Snake at the Wilbury, Thursday, September 27th.
Football is in full swing, and so are the Milwaukee deals at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Almost every M18 brushless fuel kit has a $100 off trade-in, or you can get $150 off trade-in on a 4, 5, or 6-piece M18 fuel combo kit. Buy a Milwaukee M18 High Demand 9.0 starter kit for only $259 and get a free brushless Sawzall. Milwaukee, upgrade, outwork, outlast. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, the largest Milwaukee selection in the area. It's 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
FSU fans know where to get the best barbecue. Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue, 5442 Thomasville Road. Old School Barbecue, cooked low and slow. Find out for yourself what all the buzz is about. And when it comes to tailgating, Willie Jewell's does it best. Get the barbecue tailgate special, pork, brisket, chicken, ribs, turkey, and wings with all the fixins. Ready to make your tailgate the place to pregame. The football team has new blood, but when it comes to barbecue, it's old school. Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue, 5442 Thomasville Road. Go Noles.
Car get caught in some gridiron action? Take it to Bob's Auto Repair and Collision Center. Now open at the new location on Lake Bradford Road. The new Bob's Auto Repair and Collision Center is still providing the best car care and collision service in town with the same great people, but now at a new state-of-the-art facility off Lake Bradford Road. Come check it out for a free collision estimate and find out why Bob's Auto Repair and Collision has been rated #1 with FSU students in Tallahassee for over 35 years. Bob's Auto Repair and Collision Center, 2293 Lake Bradford Road. Don't let your car get stuck on the bench this season.
License number MV01209.
Hey, guess what? Right now at VisionWorks, all prescription eyewear, every frame, every brand is 50% off. Yup, a nifty 50% thanks to our Friends and Family event. What's even better, it applies to both glasses and sunglasses. That's right. Go to visionworks.com and save 50% on all prescription eyewear. Saving on glasses has never been easier. Just go to visionworks.com. VisionWorks, we're here to help you. Some restrictions apply. See site for details.
Just like football, when it comes to the court of law, you're going to need a solid defense. I'm Michael D. Blank, attorney with the Law Office of Jose Fernandez in Tallahassee. At the Law Office of Jose Fernandez, there is never an upfront fee, and if we don't recover, then you don't pay anything. Our team is dedicated to handling all types of accident, injury, negligence, malpractice, and wrongful death cases. If you're unable to come to us, we can come to you day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, for your free consultation today. The Law Office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid until you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. GRFinjury.com. Go Noles.
Check out the all-new Team Dean at Dean Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram's Summer Clearance Event. The 2017 Dodge Journey Crossroads Edition, starting at $32,585. But after dealer discounts on their Summer Clearance Event, you pay only $25,793. That's a savings of over $6,700. Only at Dean Chrysler Dodge Jeep in Bainbridge, Georgia. 1305 East Shotwell Street or 229-248-0153. That's 229-248-0153. Football is in the air, temps are hot in Tallahassee, and so are the deals at Kevin's Fine Outdoor Gear. Regardless of the score, you still need to stock up on all your outdoor needs to get the job done. Kevin's is the area's top outdoor retailer, featuring thousands of hunting supplies from top manufacturers in the business. If hunting's not your thing, shop their great fishing tackle selection, including Shimano, G. Loomis, St. Croix, and much, much more. Need tailgating supplies? Kevin's has the largest selection of Yeti products in North Florida. Find them at 3350 Capitol Circle Northeast, just south of I-10 exit 203. Only minutes from FSU.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Landon Dickerson still absent from practice. Derek Kelly missed practice. Laybourne's done for the year. That's unfortunate. We thought he could come back. Not going to happen. Christian Meadows was at practice but was wearing a sling. He's an offensive lineman, so any offensive lineman you could have out there and maybe call upon is a good thing.
Don't worry. We can just transfer money from your account into a portfolio with your son, and it's gone!
The starting offensive line, Abdul Bello, Arthur Williams, Alex Eberle, Mike Arnold, Brady Scott. Well,
it is the stunning development of the 2018 season, independent of how bad we look on the field, that Arthur Williams is the best option at guard.
Well, it's a damning thing for Bavion Johnson. I mean, it's just ridiculous. What are we doing here? What happened? What happened, man?
I get that you're trying to work on snapping the ball, but you can't block anybody?
Just brutal.
We don't have to snap the ball from left guard.
Well, it's been pointed out time and again, and when people reach out to me from afar and say, what in the world? I say, we literally have no tackles. They're not here. They don't exist. The people that are currently occupying the position of tackle are guards, some of whom played defense a year ago and were third string at that and now playing guard as a starter, having never done that. That's where we're at.
Somebody asked a question, I think it was Monday, of Willie, are you considering any other changes from defensive line, from a depth person to offensive line? And I laughed. I think my first thought was, well, that's a ridiculous question. And then my next thought was, no, Tom, that's not ridiculous at all. Arthur Williams is starting at left guard. That's a legitimate question.
Yeah, man. I mean,
he said not at this time.
So I was joking with Lee Sterling. He and I were talking off the air about the situation at Florida State, and he was asking, beyond some of the obvious things, what in the world's going on? I said, Lee, go look at the depth chart of the offensive line. Go look at the guys that are there playing, that are starting now, many of whom were never expected to play. And some, Bavion Johnson was a top 50 recruit. He was considered to be a guard or center. He's had some injuries. He can't snap the ball. He's in terrible shape. And I don't know that he's ever going to start. He was a top 50 recruit, and he's garbage. And I don't mean as a human being. Careful. I'm just saying he's not a good football player. So damn it, man. I mean,
how do you know he's not a good football player? Arthur Williams is starting.
That's how I know.
Arthur Williams completed spring ball as a defensive lineman.
So think about this, too, and this is the other part when you get mad, and we all are mad, and Willie's got to do better and all of that, but just think about how damning this is. Florida State signed, if I got this right, in the class of 2017, one offensive lineman.
Well, it was that 16 class that was just going to set the program in a good place and on cruise control for about 5 or 6 years.
Brady Scott is who we signed in 2017. That's it. What were we doing? God dog it, man. And I'll tell you, I mean, look, you had Andrew Baselli, who you took as a favor, and he's no longer with the program, and he's not even playing football. He couldn't play. I told you that the first time I saw him, went, oh, no, this guy can't play. Jesus.
I'll tell you what we were doing.
Not doing our jobs.
We were doing something that'll be bleeped out of next hour's interview with Jake the Snake.
Is that what we were doing?
Yeah.
Taking it on the road? Having a good time? Ended up in precarious positions?
Not doing our job. That's anything but.
It's
Jimbo knew what the hell he was leaving.
Oh, and he couldn't wait.
Think he wasn't committed to leaving after game 1 or game 2 now?
Right. When you see that group.
Come on now.
If we could ever get to the bottom of that, if you could ever get to the when did he know for certain? When did he turn his back?
You got proof right here. Here's new emerging proof.
You got a lot of it. It's true. But, man, I just – and I do think that they're going to have to do something unprecedented in the offseason to just have a shot at getting, having a modicum of success. You got to sign 8 linemen.
Yeah, JUCOs, Craigslist ads, anything.
You got to straight go all in. Coach Taggart is an honorable man, and I believe that he's probably hired nothing but. But I have got to convince him somehow, some way, we've got to get to the cheating. We've got to just throw away these principles for a year or two and get to the cheating. You've got to sign people who aren't eligible to get into school and make sure they get into school. You've got to give them steroids. You've got to bring in JUCOs that are good at, like, hand painting and just say that's your major. And then let's go.
I'd go over to Coach Ham and say, hey, can I borrow Kabengale for about 3 months? Can he play tackle? My guess is 6'8". I'll bet you he's quite a good tackle. I'll bet he's athletic. He won't get beat around the edge.
I'm only half kidding. I should be fully kidding, but I don't. This is the kind of desperation we've got going on around here. You've got to find a way around certain rules for the betterment of those young men and this program, and for our sanity.
Dr. David Castillo has to shave and then just show up and say, hi, guys, I'm David Castillo Jr.
One thing I'll tell you is there was an article, and I got to go find it, and maybe I'll use it on tomorrow's show. We talk about, all jokes aside, how do you get it turned around? How do you get to that place where you give yourself a chance to compete and gain some momentum and do all those things? Well, Georgia starts 4-4 under Kirby Smart, and their main problem is the offensive line. They're devastated on offensive line. And you're barely beating Nicholls State, and you're just getting by, and you're getting beat up by Florida and all these teams that you just really ought not lose to, and it doesn't look good. And the frustration is there amongst the Georgia faithful. And then it all begins with an uptick in their recruitment of and development of offensive linemen. That opens the door for everything. Because if you want to be physical and you want to be tough and you want to run the football, and I don't care what your offense is, because this offense, though, even though considered spread and tempo and all that, is a battering ram. They are trying to run the ball 60% of the time, if not more. And that's why going back and documenting all those years where Willie has had success has been when they are able to run the ball, and they consistently run the ball. Even in years where they were not nearly as good as they wanted to be, they could still run the ball. It's all predicated on running the ball. And there's a toughness that comes with being able to run the ball. And it permeates your team and allows for everything else to take a step forward. And until you can do that, you can't really do much of anything else. And so he is able, Kirby is, at that point, to turn it around in recruiting, to get some JUCOs in, to do some things from an offensive line standpoint that get that program moving in the right direction. And once that happened, and they got a couple of significant wins, the momentum built up. He's obviously a good recruiter. He took what he learned from Nick Saban, applied those to his program here. But being able to block it up and allow for that stable running backs, Georgia always has that, right? We're very similar in that way, Florida State and Georgia are. Similar rivals, similar ways of looking at the way you want to move the football, which is, and Kirby spent some time here at Florida State. So we're going to run the football, and we're going to have a lot of talent in the backfield. Florida State has a lot of talent in the backfield. They just can't run the football at all. And however that's got to happen, again.
Yeah, so either you go power or you go 5 wide. Those are your two choices.
Well, and right now, since there's problems coming up the gut, you can't go 5 wide.
Jumbo, excuse me. You could go 5 wide and just the ball's got to be out of his hand every play, a couple seconds in. But I don't know. There's no good answer right now. That's the other part.
No. When the interior is giving up leaks and you're getting pressure in your face, you can't.
Left guard, left tackle, that relationship all year long has been an Olay reel.
Yeah, turnstiles, man. That's what we got right there. Just, oh, another hit. Look at that.
Thought you had him.
Well, and, you've heard a lot of people talk about this, and they've, you can find the clips and the videos that are out there of our guys looking like they're in slow motion, blocking air as somebody just runs right past them and hits DeAndre. That isn't a technique thing. That sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. That is a lack of confidence. They don't know what they're doing. You can always, you've got to, that's why when I talk about simplifying this, fire off the ball, man. Close your splits, fire off the ball, straight ahead. You can do that. Anybody can do that. Just do that. I'll fall forward for 2, 2nd and 8. Here we go. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Realtor for Capital Property Consultants, representing Premier Fine Homes. If you're thinking of owning your own brand new Premier home, call or text me at 850-545-4747 or email me, jeffdoxy1@gmail.com. You say where, I'll be there. Your Canopy Connection.
Just how good does a Sport Clips championship haircut experience make you feel? Like your hair has its own walk-up music. No matter what kind of guy you are. Maybe you play sports. Maybe you play sports online. Or maybe your sport is keeping up with your kids. You want hair so good it deserves its own walk-up music. And at Sport Clips, we make it easy. Just check in online, choose your stylist, and head to Sport Clips. You'll get a game-changing cut from a stylist trained for guys. Go big with the MVP experience and get recharged with a massaging shampoo and their legendary hot steamed towel. They'll always finish strong by styling your hair just right, tightening up that beard and getting you on your way. Hair this good needs no introduction, but you'll want one anyway. Appointment-free championship haircuts for men and boys surrounded by what you know and love, sports. So get in line online today at sportclips.com/check-in and get your hair in the game.
Need a break this week? Rock by the Sea Charity Music Festival returns this weekend to beautiful St. George Island. Rock by the Sea features live music from Thursday night through brunch on Sunday. Enjoy artists including Steve Everett, The Currys, Megan Farrell, American Idol contestant Christian Lopez, along with local favorites the Brown Goose and Tobacco Road Band. Proceeds from Rock by the Sea will benefit the Franklin County Public Library. Music is a second language and Camp Sunshine. To register and for more details, including a Friday golf tournament, head to rockbythesea.org. That's rockbythesea.org.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Headed to the new Gordos, 'cause Eddie hit a home run just like the old Gordos. Ooh.
Jeff, I'm sitting right here, man. Why do you always speak about me in the third person?
Loving the new Gordos.
You gotta quit singing, man.
Got the outside deck. When the weather shifts, I'm gonna sit outside at the new Gordos.
Are we ever gonna get there? Can you speed up, please?
Lots of TVs.
1460 Market Street.
Woohoo!
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Wanted to note for you, Tom, because you're going to want to look at the game. I know that you are. Wake Forest has lost the turnover margin in all 3 games they've played this year.
Interesting, because they were the beneficiaries of a muffed punt inside the 10-yard line for BC a week ago Thursday, and then also they blocked a punt and returned it for a touchdown It was actually recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. So that would be the one thing that I'd have pause for with Wake Forest is that game with Boston College should never have been a game, save for some turnover luck and football being football.
Yeah, special teams disasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the missed extra point. Did you mention the missed extra point?
I did not mention this. So there were 15 points out there of randomness, and BC ended up winning by 7 with the magic number if you got it late.
6.5.
6.5.
I remember it well. Notre Dame can't run the ball currently, and they aren't converting on third down virtually ever, and scoring points is very difficult. Hey, sounds familiar. Who knows? Maybe when we go on November the 10th to see Florida State and Notre Dame, we'll get a score of 6-3. GameDayExcursions.com. Go there today to sign up for your turnkey Chicago to South Bend experience, including bottomless mimosas, Bloody Marys. Ooh, we need them. All of us, all the time. Premium bus transportation to and from South Bend, an exclusive tailgate party steps away from the stadium, stocked with beer, food, and entertainment. By entertainment, I mean hookers. I'm kidding. Of course I'm kidding. When you get your tickets from Game Day Excursions, use promo code JCS to get $10 off each ticket. That's promo code JCS at GameDayExcursions.com. I only brought that up because of the Buccaneers and what took place in the Tampa Stadium, or should I say Raymond James Stadium, parking lot for several years and the eventual bust.
Yes, say Raymond James because they want to be expressly associated with what's going on in the parking lots.
Hey, imagine the kind of festivities going on in the parking lots outside of Raymond James these days.
Oh, how about for some Monday Night Football?
Dun, 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 dun. Never gets old, that song, I might say.
Yeah.
Even if you're not in the mood, you just flip around, that comes on, you hear the dun, dun, dun. Okay, I got to watch Monday Night Football. Here I was, kind of indifferent about the Bears, and I tuned in.
Well, because we like watching good defensive football, right? We're kind of throwbacks in that way.
I love good. Hey, listen, that's going to be a good defense all year long. I crack up that every week the Raiders desperately need a pass rush and don't have it. And the reporters covering Oakland keep asking Gruden about it, and he has to straight-face answer questions about how desperate they are to get a pass rush. And meanwhile, Chicago has transformed their defense with one guy.
You don't just find those guys every day.
Yeah, they're not just out there. My man. I mean, just ridiculous. But I do think it's going to play out in an interesting fashion. I think the Bucs will beat the Steelers on Monday Night Football, and this impossible dream comes true. The Bucs will start 3-0 with a schedule that featured them on the road against New Orleans, at home against the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers on a Monday night. And okay then. But then, short rest, they'll go to Chicago, and the first problem of the year arises.
They're going to promote this thing to the hilt, too, because the controversy, believe it or not, you thought preseason, and I think
the Bucs, yeah, but it's the Steelers.
And even surviving last night's little blip from Tampa Bay with the lawsuit that's coming down for James.
Oh, that was eventually going to happen. Eventually, it's the same scenario though, and just for people who don't know, he's being sued by the person involved in the Uber scandal, but that's not a new incident.
No, for therapy and damages, that's to the tune of $75K. I did find that interesting, given that her claim, according to the Tampa Bay Times, which imagine that got the story there, Matt Baker did, and it remarks that in the report, she claims that Jameis was not that intoxicated, but he was belligerent at 2 a.m. looking for some Mexican food. So I find that interesting at looking at the nature of what the story says now, and then I got to go back and look at what it said way back when. But then also, you're just looking down the line and you say, really, you're going to pick this week of all weeks to release this story. That's a John Clune tactic play. And it seemed an awful lot like when the suspension first came down in the announcement that night, back in whatever that was, when you broke it first, that it was 3 games, that the league had come to an understanding with all parties involved here that this is going to be 3 games. Jameis is going to have a follow-up statement. Your attorneys, ma'am, are going to have a follow-up statement. The Bucs can make a statement. We're going to have a release. We're not going to show what evidence we do or do not have. And that's going to be the end of the story. I wonder if this story last night was a shocker to the NFL, because it puts more pressure on the NFL to release its findings now, the specifics of the case. If they're actually going to try and litigate here and get some damages from Jameis Winston's camp.
$75,000?
This is all for $75K.
Write the check and move on. I got to be careful what I say here.
I feel like
I think you know what I think, and I think that
it undercuts her credibility
without question
for $75K.
Listen, there are plenty of things out there that do, my man, but it's not a good look. So.
Well,
we're not going to.
They chose the right time. I mean, short of doing it next week before there was a quarterback controversy on, say, Tuesday morning, this is a pretty opportune time to release this information. It just seemed to me like
love is red hot.
Well, but it seemed to me like there was kind of a gag order across the board issued when the NFL made its ruling.
There clearly was, but I'll tell you
this
something.
Might be a
interesting.
violation of that.
We'll see, but I'll tell you what's interesting is that when you talk to people around the Bucs, what isn't understood, I think, generally speaking, by the national media and maybe even fans, because how could they know? But is a truth and is a truism. Fitz and Jameis are real close, and Jameis plays with his kids all the time. Really, like they're real close, and he. I mean, they're like they joke with each other. They have fun in the group meetings, and they just, Fitz believes in Jameis, believes that he's going to be a future multi-time Pro Bowl quarterback, and has told everybody who would listen that he's just holding down the fort. Now, I would also say that Jameis likes Fitz to the tune of, I bet he's supporting him and celebrating these successes. Like, there's not a problem in the locker room for the Bucs. There's not we don't have a growing situation here. It's what the national media wants that story to read like. But that's not what's actually going on.
I agree. I think the most important thing here, though, is how much do the players end up believing in Fitz? And that's where you might have a little bit of an issue is because he's playing his ass off. It's not just about the O-line and the play calling.
No, he's playing great here, but that's why you don't pull him.
Right.
It's been asinine to listen. Even smart people in the media get caught up in this. There's a reason he is a career journeyman backup quarterback, because when he starts and he has to play week in and week out, he reveals himself to be a career journeyman backup. He's not a frontline starter. He's had a good season or two in his career. He's had some dreadful seasons or two in his career, and he's by and large been a nice backup. A guy that can carry you for a few games, but isn't going to sustain elite levels of play over the course of seasons. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a place for him clearly in the NFL and to make a lot of money and to spot start when you need him. And if you're lucky, you have something like this happen. And this is a great thing. I mean, the Bucs are winning games that they didn't think they could win, and he's playing spectacularly. And you know what? That's great. And I would be willing to bet, in fact, I know, that Jameis is happy for his friend and happy that the Bucs are winning. He wants to win. Nobody's more competitive than him. Even those that hate him would admit this. So he's not going to say, let's take the highest-rated quarterback in the league off the field when I come back. No, he's not going to say that. He's going to say, all right, I'm ready to get my reps, to work the rust off, had a great preseason. When I'm called upon, I'll do my job.
Yeah, I agree. This is it's an easy call. What Deshaun Jackson said is absolutely true. As long as he's playing like this, nobody's coming out. Nobody's replacing him.
No.
Nobody in the league.
He's right now the highest-rated quarterback in football.
Most yards, touchdowns,
everything.
Not Mahomes, by the way. Not Mahomes, who everybody's talking about.
Who's
it's actually
looked great, by the way.
And he has. But everybody's talking about that guy. It's actually Fitzpatrick.
It's an easy story.
But the thing, yes, but where I think it could be complicated is leadership dynamic, right? And you have a couple of pieces of evidence now that are different than anybody expected for Ryan Fitzpatrick. And you have a core group that has been able to operate without Jameis and operate just fine, and everybody looks happy, and they're playing out there quite well in all facets of the game. Mm-hmm. So if he comes back into the room and it's now his team, is he going to keep his mouth shut, go play football, and let Levante David worry about the day-to-day ops as a leader of the team?
That'd be my guess, yes.
But that's important. Because that can screw up.
I don't think he has a choice. I don't think he has a choice, and I think it's what's going to happen. I think, first of all, I think they're going to play well on Monday night. And so I would anticipate that Fitzpatrick is going to start against the Bears, and that'll be the first time that he doesn't play well, because the Bears are really good, and that's a good defense. They're going to make a lot of quarterbacks look pretty bad. I'm not saying he'll be bad. I think he'll look human. He'll look like a normal quarterback looks against good defenses. People adjust. Remember, the league is adjusting right now to Todd Monken's system and what he's running. Dirk Cutter was predictable and cowardly, and it was very easy to prepare for a Dirk Cutter offense because he's a child afraid of his own shadow. So Monken, who's a man and throws the ball down the field and isn't afraid and works with the weapons he has, is very, very aggressive. And now the league gets film on that and says, okay, well, we're going to take a good look at this. We're going to have to adjust. Let's force Fitzpatrick to do some things that he doesn't want to do. Let's reveal the warts that he's had his entire career by making him go to his left when he doesn't want to go to his left, or shading a different direction so that the receivers don't continue to kill us on skinny posts. We're going to take that away from you and make you do things you don't do well. And it'll be on Fitz to adjust and on Monken to adjust. But the league doesn't sit around and just allow people to beat the bejesus out of them. They're going to do something different. And so until that time comes, you ride this wave and you enjoy it. But I think the Bucs offense is a problem for every team they play this year because they have weapons and they have a line now that blocks. And I believe that Fitz or Jameis both would have huge amount of success this season regardless.
Well, I agree. With the head coach you have and the new dynamics in the locker room, all I'm saying is if Fitzpatrick is just pretty good, and let's say he throws for 3 scores and 2 picks against Chicago and 280 yards, is that good enough to make a change at that point?
I think Monken would have to be the decision maker there because what he's going to do is he's going to look at the film and say, you left this out there, this is a throw you've got to make. You're not seeing this. Or he's going to say, that's just good defense. The Bears would have done this to anybody tonight. You played a good game, young man, and then you start him next week.
We're all waiting for Fitzpatrick to throw 4 picks in a game because his career demands that that's going to happen at some point. I just wonder if we're operating in the gray area where he's still pretty good and the offense is doing enough, but they may or may not win the game. Is that enough to say, all right, it's time to turn the keys over to Jameis because he's a plus player? Or is the temperature in the locker room such that they're all behind this guy? They don't want him coming out yet. I think that can still be true, and people not hating Jameis, they may just support Fitz at this point. Who doesn't love that guy?
Including Jameis, who I think is very support. Look, this is about the Bucs. If we're just looking big picture here, we're talking about a franchise that was expected to start extremely slow and has started very fast and has a chance to put themselves in a position to end a playoff drought. And Bucs fans, rightfully, myself included, are going to look at that as the ultimate goal. They don't really care who leads them there, just as long as they get there. So you do the prudent thing. If the guy's playing really well, you continue to play the guy that's playing really well. If you get evidence to the contrary that he's slipping back into the habits that made him a career backup, then he becomes a backup again. And you go with the guy that's been to a Pro Bowl, that through the last 6 games last year was one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league when he wasn't hurt, who has thrown for over 4,000 yards 2 of the 3 years, and is a guy that you have hitched your wagon to, who's under contract for next year, by the way. I mean, so he's your long-term answer.
Of course he is, but you have to have a backbone as a head coach to make a decision like that if Fitzpatrick is playing above-average football and you're getting by. That's what I'm just saying. It'll be very easy if Fitz has the anti-Fitz game, or you could just say Fitz 2.
Or Fitz has the game that he normally has,
correct,
instead of the one where he looks like Joe Montana.
Well, yes. I mean, he's thrown 6 picks and he's thrown 6 touchdowns in a game.
Yeah.
So he has the other version.
He's a weird cat.
He will make it easy on you at that point. But sometimes it's not that easy, and you have to have a leadership structure, and then you also have to have a locker room culture that's, able to absorb that, make a decision, and move forward. It's not about there's a toxic relationship between the 2 quarterback candidates. It's what does the temperature of the locker room look like, and how strong is Dirk Cutter to make a choice in that moment. And I think we know that if he had his druthers and it's 50-50, he's going to pick Fitz, and he's not going to pick Jameis. So how does that influence things?
Well, but the franchise chose Jameis, so I don't give a damn. I mean, he'll be told to stand down. I mean, that's who they've hit.
Will he?
That's it. Well, I mean, he basically had to relinquish calling plays because he was incompetent.
We are still the Bucs.
I mean, they took a lot of responsibility out of his hands.
Yeah.
You can't tell me on a day-to-day basis his pride isn't severely injured.
But then if you empower Monken to make that choice, then you may as well fire Dirk and be done with it.
Indeed. Wouldn't that be a forward-thinking maneuver from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? All right, I like where your head's at. There we go. Let's get on with it again. Hey, let's give away some tickets. Can we do that?
Yes, we can.
Give away tickets for the By the Sea thing. Is that what we're doing here?
We're rocking By the Sea. You can too.
Damn right, rocking By the Sea.
These are 2
charity
tickets.
Music festival and golf tournament. Yes.
It's I mean, if you're gonna stay down there, that's on you. But we can get you passes to the event,
to the festival, right?
That's what we'll do for you. We'll get you passes to the festival.
523-3776. 523 ESPN. Is that it? Yep, that's what it is. The Rock by the Sea Charity Music Festival. Caller 3? I'm with you. Caller 3, 523-3776. There you go. Let's go see some music at St. George on us. I'll make it happen.
Have a friend or coworker that's frustrated because their home hasn't sold? Well, Joe guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline that you agreed to, or he'll have it bought for cash. Call Joe to find out more about this phenomenal program. Not only that, working with Joe doesn't obligate you to a thing. If he's not doing his job, he'll let you out of your contract free and clear. But don't worry, that never happens, because Joe sells homes quickly and for top dollar. 10 years ago, Brian and Sue built a dream home in Benton Hills, but due to a career change, they had to move out of the area. They hired an agent but failed to sell their home, so they decided to rent the property. 10 years later, same problem, same story. Then they hired Joe Manassa Real Estate, and their incomparable marketing tactics changed the game. Because of Joe's marketing, Brian and Sue had more showings in the first weekend with Joe than the entire listing with the other agent. They sold their home, and now they can focus on more important things where they live now in Maryland. Call the only agent I would call if I needed to sell my home. That's Joe Manassa of Joe Manassa Real Estate. Call Joe Manassa today at 850-888-0888. That's 850-888-0888 or online at manassa.com. That's MANAUSA.com and start packing.
An eager young FSU marketing major came into Poor Paul's the other day and told me what a genius he thought I was for all the great specials we have, like the $2.95 top shelf liquor drinks on Wednesday and Friday nights, the free ladies drinks on Tuesday nights, the free Gumby's pizza with $4.95 pitchers every Sunday and Monday nights, not to mention all of the free beer winners we have on the Wheel of Fortune all day, every day. This guy asked me if I'd majored in marketing, and I told him I had, but what I didn't tell the poor guy was that in 4 years, I didn't learn a damn thing in any of my classes. You see, there was this girl I got to know named Bunny who, let's just say, was working her way through school, who sold a great product, cheap, with a smile, and as a result had hundreds of happy customers. And except for that little red light in her window, all her advertising was simply word of mouth. So I didn't worry about all those charts and graphs and formulas. I knew all I needed were the Bunny marketing methods. Sell good stuff, cheap, with a smile. And just like at Bunny's, Poor Paul's always has lots of happy customers wanting to spend their money. And that's why that poor kid thought I was so smart.
Just like football, when it comes to the court of law, you're going to need a solid defense. I'm Michael D. Blank, attorney with the Law Office of Jose Fernandez in Tallahassee. At the Law Office of Jose Fernandez, there is never an upfront fee, and if we don't recover, then you don't pay anything. Our team is dedicated to handling all types of accident, injury, negligence, malpractice, and wrongful death cases. If you're unable to come to us, we can come to you day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, for your free consultation today. The Law Office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid until you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. JRFinjury.com. Go Noles.
Hi, I'm Jesse Ross, owner and co-founder of Lake Tribe Brewing right here in Tallahassee. When my father, my two brothers, and I started Lake Tribe, we had one simple goal: to create great tasting quality craft beer that reflects our love for the great outdoors and have some fun along the way. If you're in town with 80,000 of your like-minded friends, stop by the brewery off West Tharp Street for a pint or a flight of our vast selection of Lake Tribe beer on tap, or stop by at the next gathering of the Garnet and Gold. We're open Thursdays and Fridays 4 to 9 and Saturdays from 1 to 9. Lake Tribe Brewing. Find your native spirit.
Tallahassee has always loved the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway for its delicious food, cold drinks, and Vegas wall of 8 50-inch flat-screen TVs. Now, the Corner Pocket gives you a new reason to start off every week at the CP, Monday Night Mania. Enjoy 50-cent wings and $5 domestic pitchers of beer every Monday night from 7:30 till 11 p.m. That's right, 50-cent wings and $5 domestic pitchers as you enjoy Monday night on the gridiron. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and Monday Mania. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
My Pacifica Hybrid, America's first and only hybrid minivan, is so quiet I can finally hear myself think. I should totally adopt a puppy. Ugh, what are you talking about? I have too many nice shoes. I also have a 566-mile driving range. Chrysler really gave 110% making this bad boy. Oops, green light.
Introducing the 84 MPGe Pacifica Hybrid. Chrysler Pacifica. Up your van game. Based on latest available competitive information, range based on manufacturer estimates, EPA estimate with a fully charged battery and estimated miles per gallon of gasoline equivalent MPGe. Actual mileage may vary. Chrysler is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Having telecommunications service means one thing: staying connected. At AT&T, we know that some Americans face life every day without the comfort and security of having a phone or broadband service. That's why AT&T offers Lifeline. In certain areas, eligible customers may qualify for a Lifeline discount, which provides reduced monthly rates for broadband or phone service with optional toll blocking at no extra charge. Additional discounts may apply to those living on federally recognized tribal lands. To find out more about the Lifeline discount and other AT&T products and services, call AT&T at 1-800-288-2020 or visit att.com/lifeline if you have access to the internet.
Lifeline is a government benefit program, and willfully making false statements to obtain this benefit is punishable by fine or imprisonment and could result in termination of Lifeline service. Lifeline enrollment requires certain eligibility documentation and is non-transferable. Limited to one discount per household. AT&T services, including Lifeline, are not available in all areas. Other restrictions apply.
Football is in full swing, and so are the Milwaukee deals at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. Almost every M18 brushless fuel kit has a $100 off trade-in, or you can get $150 off trade-in on a 4, 5, or 6-piece M18 fuel combo kit. Buy a Milwaukee M18 High Demand 9.0 starter kit for only $259 and get a free brushless Sawzall. Milwaukee, upgrade, outwork, outlast. Cornerstone Tool & Fastener, the largest Milwaukee selection in the area. It's 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split 1 order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool & Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it, and a fine Bowlsmick Wednesday to you and yours. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you get to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do miss something, go back, get caught up. All 3 hours posted upon the conclusion of the program, both through iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email the show if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. It's also at 979 ESPN Radio, where you can Periscope the program. If you say, I don't like Periscope and I like YouTubing, well, then go to YouTube and type in ESPN Tallahassee. Hello, YouTubers. So this is a real short opener because this is a treat. We all need a little respite, maybe, from Florida State football. Just a little respite, a little time away. Everybody needs a little time away. And so, you know, we're going to give you that. And we're going to give you that in the form of a long-form interview with Jake the Snake Roberts. If wrestling's not your thing, you're going to go, well, click, see you tomorrow, Cameron. And I get you. But I tell you not to do that. Hold off. You don't have to like wrestling to like the kind of conversation I think that Jake the Snake and I are going to conduct, in that he is coming to town He'll be here next week at the Wilbury. And he's a guy that has an incredibly interesting life story. He's on the Unspoken Word Tour, Tales from the Road, live at the Wilbury, 513 West Gain Street, September 27th, a week from tomorrow. He'll be there. So doors open at 8, and I'll tell you more about getting tickets later in the hour. But point is, guy's story is incredible. And if you are a wrestling fan, you already know that. And I think I'll only be able to scratch the surface with the limited time we have here. But I'm looking forward to talking to him because I've seen the documentaries and I've seen his willingness to be forthright, and it can be uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable and real. I think those are the two things, right?
Raw.
Yeah.
Without question. So we'll shake it up today and go that route. You know, I wanted to do this back in the day, and I blew it, and I wasn't going to blow the opportunity here. I wanted to do this kind of a thing with Roddy Piper, whose life story is also fascinating, and who worked with Jake the Snake Roberts, and they both have fascinating stories, but then Rowdy up and died on me before I could get off my butt and broker that interview. I blew it, and I'm not going to do that again. So when they reached out to us, said, hey, Jake's going to be on tour. Would you like to talk to him? If so, great. If not, we understand. Here's our event. I said to Tom, yes, tell him we will talk to Jake the Snake. And these guys all tend to have incredibly fascinating stories. I mean, you don't have to like wrestling. You just have to like human interest stories, things that kind of move the needle a little bit. Like, whoa, that's different. That's a life that's different.
Yeah. You don't always have to be wired differently to live on the road and do what wrestlers have to do to prepare for a career.
Most of the time you do.
Most of the time you are wired a little bit differently, but that also means that perhaps you're more comfortable with saying things that people are never comfortable saying, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, and I'm always fascinated by those that are that willing to come forward about their lives and talk about their mistakes and everything else. He is. So that's coming up here in just a few minutes. This will be a short segment only to say that, look, you know the deal. We've got Coach Taggart taking a hands-on approach right now after this dreadful, dreadful start, and the guys have all said the right thing all week. I think the practices have been spirited from what I'm hearing, but you know what? We don't have to beat that drum over and over and over again for all 3 hours. We're waiting to see a product on the field that is worthy of discussion beyond the negative. And you can't do that until we play another game like the one we're going to play against Northern Illinois on Saturday. And it's sad that you have to fiercely focus in on games against Northern Illinois or any other team that you deem to be beatable at this point if you want to see a Florida State win. But that's the truth.
Yeah, you're begging at this point. Do something for the offense, right? I mean, really, honestly, anything. Please. I'll take 20 to 20s, and we leave a couple of field goals on the board because we miss them.
Play to your defense, baby. Play to your defense.
But a little yards per play, maybe. A little first down action. Get down to 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5 once in a while. I think that's the number one way that they can fundamentally get people's confidence going a little bit better is to be in second and manageable.
Yeah, I keep saying you got to stop losing first down. Go look at all those third down statistics and remember that they all derive from the fact that you're losing first down and you find yourself in third and forever, which allows people to tee off on your quarterback.
2013 Jameis Winston, who was a deity at 3rd and long in 2013. Well, that's redundant because it was 2013 Jameis Winston. Even he would have a problem with this particular circumstance. You go, are we always going to be in 3rd and 15?
Yeah, I mean.
And can I not get hit every play?
Every single play? Don't forget, folks, good times. Real good times at College Town right now. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. That's coming up. Township for Taco Thursday, $2 house tacos. You guys need to know about these things. Madison Social offers the social agreement. You and a buddy are splitting an order of wings and getting 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof ales, 2 tasty beverages, if you will, for just $40. It's fit for all ages. Parking is solved. If you didn't know about Thursdays over at College Town, well, what you need to know is the parking's free, and that's been a hang-up. So you need to know that you can park over there for free. It's not the headache that it once was. They want you to know that. No hassle, great food, great service. Visit ThursdaysInCollegetown.com for more details. That's ThursdaysInCollegetown.com for more details. All right, coming up, we'll make way for it right now. My conversation when we return from the break with Jake the Snake Roberts.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Blair of Tallahassee, I want to bring it to you, locally owned and operated. Warm, good food.
Good Lord, man, we're getting all weepy up in here. It's a cool sports pub. It's got TVs everywhere. You got every package. You got a gazillion kinds of beers and delicious food and a deck. We don't need to weep up in here. Come on, Eddie.
And we have 16 local Florida taps. Great craft beer just for you. And the best bologna sandwich you'll ever eat. It's like you just won the lotto. As Bumpa said, no matter how you cut it, it's still bologna.
Bumpa's Local, 349-2738, Capitol Circle, Northeast.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
For a limited time, receive up to a $400 trade-in bonus when you upgrade to a select Carrier home comfort system. Plus, you can now quickly and easily schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device at baranoac.com. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. It's that easy. Florida license CAC 057652.
My Pacifica Hybrid, America's first and only hybrid minivan, is so quiet I can finally hear myself think. I should totally adopt a puppy. Ugh, what are you talking about? I have too many nice shoes. I also have a 566-mile driving range. Chrysler really gave 110% making this bad boy. Oops, green light.
Introducing the 84 MPGe Pacifica Hybrid. Chrysler Pacifica. Up your van game. Based on latest available competitive information, range based on manufacturer estimates. EPA estimate with a fully charged battery and estimated miles per gallon of gasoline equivalent MPGe. Actual mileage may vary. Chrysler is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
The hardest working man in comedy is back. Kevin Hart. It's the Irresponsible Tour.
I caught my dad giving my kids raw candy out of his pocket. Candy with no wrapper. It was loose. It was just in his pocket. He said,
The box office smash comedian, Kevin Hart.
Where the lines at on that peppermint?
Kevin Hart.
5 minutes go by, I saw my dad take that peppermint out of his mouth, put it back in his pocket. Those were half-sucked on peppermints.
Friday, October 12th in Tucker Civic Center. Get tickets at the box office and online at tuckerciviccenter.com. Don't miss Kevin Hart.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen, we need to talk. Now, I normally have a nice cold bottle of Mountain Dew in me, but at the moment, I'm empty. That's right, no Mountain Dew. Nothing in here but a couple of quarters and a dime. Those 60 cents have been freeloading a ride in me for weeks now. I really don't want to be seen like this. A fully capable cup holder like me just carrying your loose change, it's embarrassing. It's beneath me. Look, I'm not made for loose change. I'm round like a bottle of Mountain Dew. Glistening, cold, and delicious. I'm made to keep Mountain Dew within reach at all times, so you're never far from that incredible bold citrus kick whenever you need it. Just inches from your hand, all snug and secure where it won't tip over or roll under your seat or get hot in the sun. So find a store already, grab some Dew, toss it back, then place that bottle where it belongs, and put that loose change back in your pocket. That's what pockets are for. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
The Man's Doghouse was voted the Demo Award winner for Best Burger in Tallahassee. Come in and try one of their many delicious burgers, like the Big Texan half-pound burger with fried jalapenos, barbecue sauce, boar's head cheddar cheese, and thick-cut applewood smoked bacon, topped with hand-breaded onion straws. The Man's Doghouse on Tennessee Street, across from FSU's campus.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right, coming up now is my interview with WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts. You got kids in the car, you want to be a little careful here. Jake gets into some stuff that's very, very real, and some of you may find it not suitable for kids. He'll be at the Wilbury, 513 West Gaines Street in Tallahassee, Thursday, September the 27th. Doors open at 8 o'clock, and you can get tickets a lot of different places, Retrofit Records, Midtown Pies, ticketfly.com, etc. But that's what's coming up now. Jake the Snake Roberts on the Jeff Cameron Show. Welcome back, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is a treat for me. I'm 47 years old. If you're somewhere in my age demographic, you grew up when I did, and you watched wrestling, and you know my next guest. You have to, and you probably loved the character. You loved who he was, what he was. He's a Hall of Famer, the inventor of the DDT, and he's going to be in town real soon. And the Unspoken Word Tour, as it's known. Jake the Snake Roberts joins us now. He'll be live at the Wilbury next week. We'll talk about that momentarily. Jake, thanks so much for your time. It's an honor to talk to you, sir.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure to be on, man.
Well, let's get started. I mean, your story's out there, and it is a fascinating one, and one that I am riveted by. I don't know if we want to start with big picture stuff. Let me ask you this. When did you know you wanted to be a professional wrestler?
Oh, my God. I didn't. I didn't want to be a wrestler, you know. I hated wrestling growing up because my father wrestled, and I blamed wrestling for him never being at home, and that wasn't the case. He was just one of those guys that wasn't going to be at home, period. You know, he didn't raise any of us. So growing up, man, I was pretty angry at it, and came a time that I graduated from high school. I was going to go to college and become an architect. That was my dream, and I went to my father, who had never showed up for a ball game, football, baseball, whatever. He never showed up for graduations or anything, man. He was, you know, that kind of guy, you know. And but I went to him because I wanted to hear one thing out of him. I wanted to hear that he was proud of me. And I was the first kid in my family to ever graduate from high school. And here I am going to college. And when I went and seen him, he said, "Well, I hope you don't want anything from me." You know, I'm like, "Well, you haven't given me anything my whole life. Why would you start now?" And it just really hurt me that he didn't tell me that he was proud of me, that I'd done it, that, you know, pat me on the back, give me a hug, something, you know. Sure. And he just couldn't do it, man. And a few nights later, I was at a wrestling show that he was performing on, and between ignorance and alcohol, my brain convinced me that if I wanted my dad to love me, that I would need to get in the ring and beat up one of those wrestlers. And once I did that, then he could love me. He'd be proud of me. So, you know, that's why, man, youth and ignorance, man. I found me a guy and challenged him, and the old-timer knew who I was, or he could have really hurt me. He hurt me pretty bad, but he could have really messed me up. He took me in the ring, and for the next 15 minutes, twisted my body into all sorts of horrible things, and wound up urinating and defecating, and not a pleasant thing to do in front of people. And he had me squealing like a little girl, and basically I crawled back to the locker room. I couldn't even stand up. He had twisted me up so much, and there was my father, all 7 foot and 400 pounds, looking down at me, saying, "You're gutless. You'll never amount to anything, and I'm ashamed of you," and walked off. And at that very moment, I made up my mind that I was going to become a professional wrestler and be better than he ever was, and do whatever it took to do it. If it meant cheating, if it meant lying, I was going to do it. And that's the way I started into wrestling, man, and it was absolutely the wrong way. I refereed some, I set up rings some, I did everything I could just to eat and try to get a beginning. I didn't know it at the time, but he was telling everybody not to hire me, so that made it a little tougher.
Wow!
I didn't give up, and I kept going, and sooner or later I made it, man. Just you know, it was a horrible fight for the first few years, man, because like I said, I did not know anything. I was horrible, but I finally did get started, and some 35 years later, here I am, man. I just never got what I wanted from him because he just wasn't capable of doing it, and that's the bottom line. You really can't choose how you want people to love you. You just got to, I guess, take what they give, even if it's nothing. And but that's another story in its own,
Did you get what you wanted out of wrestling?
I think so. I think that I've gotten a lot out of wrestling as far as the learning experience about human beings and learning about people and seeing how ugly some people really are. The pretty girls always aren't the prettiest girls, trust me. Of course, I went down the addiction road and the alcohol, and, I should have been known that was going to come my way, too, because I was predestined for it. My grandfather was an alcoholic, and it ran in our family, but I dove in head first because, when you're a kid that's been sexually abused and abused in many ways, you start your world trying to get everybody to accept you, to like you, because you don't feel like you're good enough, because your father doesn't even like you, it seems. And I struggled with that, man, and I did things lots of times just to basically win the guys over, and they weren't positive things. And, but I finally righted my ship and started learning, and thanks to Stu Hart and the Dungeon up in Calgary and the people over in Vancouver, British Columbia, they got me going. And, I made a few trips down south, but I only lasted about 4 to 6 weeks at a place, and they'd fire me because I was just that bad. And, I finally got it going, and once I got it going, I was off to the races.
Yeah, and you feuded with guys like Junkyard Dog, and you had your big rivalries in the Mid-South with guys like Ric Flair and Slater and Ron Garvin.
Yeah.
Who do you feel, I guess, taught you the most about, say, in-ring psychology and booking and those kinds of things?
Bob Sweetan and Buck Robley. Buck Robley had a big part of my career, man. He taught me a lot. And, of course, anytime he went through Florida back in those days, Eddie Graham was around, and he certainly filled your cup. And Dusty was there also, and you could certainly watch Dusty and pick up stuff there. But Eddie Graham was a brain, and he knew so much, the psychology, all of it. And but Sweetan, he was so intimidating. Robley was so maniacal. And Robley had one of the greatest minds wrestling's ever known, but Buck had a problem too. He's one of those guys that, if things get going good, he just couldn't stand it. He had to screw it up. And basically I was like that for a long time. I just, especially when it come to a marriage. But basically the reason that was happening was because I didn't trust women at all. I've been sexually abused and beaten by a woman, and it was my stepmother, and so I had problems with women. And so whenever I got older and was ready for a relationship, I'd get to a certain point with them, and then I'd have to turn tail and run because I knew sooner or later they were going to hurt me. And it really messed with my mind, and I encourage anybody out there that's went through anything as a child, man, you've got to get you some counseling, and you've got to talk about it. As bad as it hurts, talk about it. And trust me, if you'll talk about it, it does get easier, and then you can start dealing with the problems, man.
We're talking to Jake the Snake Roberts, Hall of Famer, and he'll be in town at the Wilbury on Gaines Street on Thursday, September the 27th. And, I want to go back to this, Jake. It's fascinating to me. The Dungeon is a place of legend in the history of pro wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
To someone who doesn't know, let's say, about the rigors of training for a career in the business, can you describe what that was like?
Well, basically like being in prison and being let out once a day to get the hell beat out of you. That's pretty much it. I mean, the Dungeon was a very dangerous place because you had Stu there and a couple other guys that had the tendency to want to stretch you. When I say stretch you, that instead of breaking your arm, they would twist it and turn it in certain ways that would just, tear muscle and tissue and ligaments and really cause you a lot of pain without putting you out of commission completely. but it was very, very painful, and they like to show you those things, back in those days, man, it was just crazy the way people handled each other physically. Everybody was wanting to show them what they knew, and that's not really that good. It really isn't. Because I'll tell you something, some of the best shooters in the world never drew a dime in wrestling. Number one being Carl and Frank Gotch. Nobody in the world could whip either one of them, but they were horrible in the ring to watch. But, there you go. So, you take a little bit of that and it goes a long ways. But being at the dungeon, that was Stu Hart's house, and the basement, it was old and it was dirty and it was grimy and it was old weights and stuff, but there was enough stuff in there you could get what you needed to get done. And those days we couldn't afford to go to gyms. We were living on a nickel, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to get started. And people don't understand that today. Back in those days, man, I've actually made $10 a night, wrestling. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough, man. You put 4 guys in a car and you all made $10 each. And so you stop at a store on the way home and you buy a loaf of bread and a package of bologna and a 6-pack of beer to split between all 4 of you. That was our treat, But it just goes to show you what will you do to get where you want to be. And those lessons taught me a lot in life. They really did. Man. Number one, how to be frugal, man. And number 2, maybe you shouldn't drink, save a little money.
Well, I'm curious about something, Jake. Sorry, I could talk to you for hours. We got to save stories, of course, for when you're here. But I do want to ask you this. I always felt like, just watching you as a fan and being a fan of wrestling, I always felt like you made every storyline really memorable. And whether your rivalries with Rick Rude or Savage or moments like you had with the Honky Tonk Man and the guitar and all that stuff, I mean, what do you believe makes a good storyline, a compelling storyline? And has that gotten lost in the shuffle a little bit in modern wrestling?
Yeah, it's gotten lost. They don't do it today. The guys that write it don't know wrestling, and the guys that are trying to do it don't know how to wrestle. So there you go.
Yeah.
The young talent today, it's not their fault, but they're put into a cookie cutter mill basically, and they're in phenomenal shape physically, but they don't know the art of wrestling. You don't learn how to become a great actor by wrestling or by doing 2 films. Now you're a great actor. No, it takes time, and it takes a lot of time to really hone your skill to where it's really smooth and believable at all times. I tell people that it's sort of like, if a guy, say Jake, comes to town and I go over and pick the guy up and tell him, hey, man, I'm going to take you out tonight. And, okay, Jake, but remember, I'm married. Oh, don't worry about it, man. And anyway, I take you out and I get you drunk and you wind up. Well, the next day you feel so bad that you've cheated on your wife that you can't stand yourself, and you finally fess up to it and you go tell her. Now, you tell her that, honey, we've been married 9 years, and I've never cheated on you, never looked at another woman, so help me God. But last night, Jake got me drunk, I wound up. Does she believe that you've never done it before? No.
Of course.
You've always been a cheating, lying sack of poo. And that's what happens in the ring. You get in the ring, and if you do 9 things or 99 things right, and that last one is off, you destroy your own credibility as a wrestler. Once you destroy your credibility, you cannot get it back. It's like that wife. That wife may forgive you, but she'll never forget it. And she's written you off, man. And the fans are the same way about these guys, and they don't get it. They're out there doing 1,000 damn moves, and nothing means nothing. Really. Seems to me like the hold that puts everybody down, it must be the most vicious hold in the world, the schoolboy. Mm-hmm. My God, are you serious? Guys are being hit by sledgehammers, jumping off of buildings on top of their heads, 15 stories down, whatever, and you get beat by a schoolboy. That makes no sense at all. So when you discuss the people and you get to where the people are saying, man, how stupid do you think I am?
Right.
And it seems like we try to make them a little more stupid every week. And unfortunately, that doesn't do you a lot of good as a talent, you know. And a lot of these guys have a lot of talent, are in great shape, but they don't understand charisma. They don't understand how to do a story, how to make that story believable. The way you make a story believable, number one, is it's got to make some damn sense. I mean, with Rick Rude, it was okay. Everybody understood that. He made an approach on my wife.
Right.
Okay, everybody understood what happened with the earthquake. He killed my snake. Okay. And right on down the line, they've got to make sense. And then you've got to go out and act that way. You've got to have the face of the person that has been harmed and is embarrassed or is angry because the snake has been hurt or he's angry because his wife has been approached. You've got to portray that. And these guys can't do that. They just don't get it. Now, as crazy as it sounds, I think one of the things that helped me more than anything else, this is really sick, but when you're a kid and you're being molested, when bad things are happening to you, you learn pretty quick how to judge people, you know, and you learn pretty quick when you need to keep your mouth shut because you don't want to get hurt. So those experiences with my stepmother, I think, helped teach me how to connive, how to lie, how to get out of situations where I wouldn't get harmed. And I think that probably helped my wrestling career. Because I had to put that story out to her and make her believe it, you know? So
yeah, it's sad to say, but it's obviously something that you've been able.
It helped.
Yeah, and you've been able to.
I don't want to go through it again.
Come to grips with it, and your honesty and candor on these subjects, obviously riveting for anybody sitting back, listening, finding out about your story. You'll be in town on the Unspoken Award Tour, Tales from the Road Tour here at the Wilbury in Tallahassee. I am curious. You know, obviously, when you talk about coming from a background of abuse and neglect, and then having to turn to alcohol and to drugs, you know, everybody knows that the Resurrection of Jake the Snake is an incredible documentary, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. But I'm kind of curious, what is it about what Diamond Dallas Page does with the DDT yoga and all of that has been able to affect change and save lives to the degree that it has? And when did you believe it? Because I got to believe that, given what you've told me here now, that you're probably suspicious, generally speaking, of any sort of gimmick or you know, get rich scheme. You know, when did you start to know?
Basically, what happened with me and him was I was at a point in my life that I was probably 6 months away from dying.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing so much cocaine and doing so much alcohol that I didn't want to wake up ever again. That's where I was at. I was so ashamed of myself, of what I'd become, disgusted with myself, how I behaved in my life, what a mess I'd made out of it, blowing in a career, blowing this, blowing marriages, all that stuff, man. And I couldn't even stand to look myself in the mirror. I mean, I took the mirrors down. If there was a mirror in the house, I busted it. I just couldn't take it anymore. And he came along at the right time, and he took me from that house and took me out to Atlanta, put me in a real nice place. And number one, the first thing he done is he started feeding me and putting food in me that was good for me, you know, and there was no alcohol. And then he started to talk to me. And after I'd been eating for a couple of months, then we started trying to do stuff physically. Well, when you're down really far and you've let yourself go really far down, if you lose 15 pounds, that's a great victory, you know, and you get excited again. Excitement is something that you lose when you get real far down there, you know. Mm-hmm. You don't get excited or happy about anything. But when I started losing weight and realizing that I could change my body, that I could change the way I behave, and it got to where it was fun. It was interesting. It was still hard, because, you don't go from drinking, every day and doing cocaine every day to doing nothing overnight. I was blessed by not going through the heebie-jeebies as bad as others have, but it was tough, man. There was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of crying, a lot of pain. But at the same time, Dallas surrounded me by a lot of people. I was never alone. That's the key. Do not get alone. Because if you get alone, the old devil's sitting there waiting on you, man. And he's going to get you. I promise you, he'll get you. So I had somebody with me 24/7. I mean, I was wrestling at the time, and I would have to pay the guy to go with me,
Mm-hmm.
So there were some times I wasn't making a whole lot of money, but I was going out there and performing because guess what? I was sober and I was clean, but I had to have that guy with me. I mean, it's so sick. There was a couple of guys that, here I am trying to get sober, trying my hardest, man. And these people came and put beer in my bag and alcohol in my bag. Why would you do that?
It's
you're
ugly.
a total jerk. And I won't say anybody's name other than Honky Tonk and let it go at that. Scumbag crap, man. That's not funny. I'm fighting for my life, man, and you want to give me the key that finishes me off.
Yeah.
That's just really sick, and it's wrong, man. And the thing about Dallas was, man, I mean, there were a couple of times. See, as a drunk and alcoholic, you'll get to a point to where you'll try to screw up so you can get kicked out, so you can go out and get high.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way the beast works. But Dallas, I'd screw up, and he'd go, okay, tomorrow we start over again. I'm like, aren't you going to kick me out? No, I'm not going to kick you out, man. I believe you're going to make it. I believe in you, man. And again, having somebody say they believed in me boosted my morale. It boosted my self-worth. And it started making me feel like a human being again, So I think we all should take a look at ourselves, and I encourage people at shows to think about somebody that's struggling. And when's the last time you tried to help somebody? And because we got to start doing it for each other, man. But I don't know, man. I went to several rehabs, and the rehabs did not get it for me. They just didn't do it. Let's face it. After 2 or 3, I could pretty much give them a ramble about what they're talking about, and I just got there, Mm-hmm. I knew all the right words to say and all the click words to not say, and how to play the game, so to speak. So I was just, wasting time till I could get out and go use again. And but doing the one-on-one thing with Dallas and doing it for the period of time that I did it, I was there, several years. It wasn't like I went in and got a 15-minute fix, man. I was there for 3 years working on that. And now it's been 6, going on 7 years, and I'm proud to say that I'm happy and clean, sober. I can go and perform in these bars, and it does not bother me at all to do it. I love to talk to people that are struggling. I encourage people at the shows, hey, if you want to talk after the show about what's going on in your life, man, I'm your guy. Give me a sign. Give me a note. After the show, we'll go find a quiet place, and we'll get serious and talk about how we can help you. Because that's what I want to do. Because if I can help one person get right, man, that's awesome. And I got to tell you, since the movie, I've had hundreds of letters from wives and from families and from little kids saying, Daddy's moved back home with us, Mr. Jake. Thank you so much for helping my daddy. And man, that's the greatest feeling in the world.
I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything better than that.
Man.
I mean, this is
it just rips your heart out, man.
Well,
but I just want everybody to know that when I come to the show, I'm actually going to tell you some pretty crazy, funny stuff, and it's all about being on the road with the guys. And I had 37 years to pick stories out of, man. Some of them are pretty wild and pretty weird, and some of them are just downright sick. But, whether it's Andre sitting on me and farting on me for 40 seconds or, there were some horrible things that happened in that ring, man. But a lot of I can't talk about on air, but there's a lot of good times and a lot of laughs. But bring your questions, too. Bring your memorabilia. I'll be glad to sign that stuff up for you. We'll bring merchandise to sell. But I guarantee you're going to have the time of your life. If you don't like the show, come tell me. I'll give you your money back. I don't care.
Jake, this has been...
I know what my show is.
This has been a pleasure, buddy. I'll continue to promote the event. Thanks for talking with us, and best of luck.
All right, take care.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye-bye. That's Jake the Snake Roberts, and we really didn't even scratch the surface, and I think we've been talking for about 30 minutes, so my guess is that this thing, which, by the way, live at the Wilbury on Gain Street, Thursday, September the 27th, doors open at 8. I know I saw online that the event goes past 11. I mean, that's easy to see how. I didn't get into the stuff about the DDT, which was my favorite wrestling move, along with the pile driver, both of which don't happen anymore. That was a devastating move that he was the master of, and I was going to ask him about that and how it's no longer quote unquote effective because they got rid of it, and people survive it now. Like anything that looks like a DDT, and all those moves are all kind of stemming from the DDT, and they all get up. No, you didn't get up from a Jake the Snake DDT. That's the storyline, right? It was devastating. So he's going to get into all of that, and I would think that. After listening to that, that'd be something you'd want to hear. His story is remarkable. If you haven't seen that documentary, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, I know a lot of you saw probably the first movie they did on him, where you saw the depths of despair, where he was morbidly obese, doing crack cocaine on camera. I remember I watched that documentary, and it was unsettling. I did not ask him about that documentary because he does not like it. He thought he was used. But he does think awfully highly of the resurrection of Jake the Snake, obviously. And it has catapulted him back into the limelight where he can do the kind of good that you're hearing him talk about. That's truly remarkable.
So you needed a break from Willie Taggart and Florida State football, you said.
Here you go.
How was that?
That was fun. It was good. Good talking to Jake the Snake. Glad he made time for us. The Unspoken Word, Tales from the Road Tour, is live at the Wilbury, 513 West Gain Street in Tallahassee, Thursday, September the 27th, I should say. Doors open at 8 p.m. Advance tickets on sale online at ticketfly.com and in town at Retrofit Records, Midtown Pies, Big Chief Smoke Shop, and the Wilbury. VIP meet and greet tickets only available online, but they are available, and he's an interesting guy. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
start at only $20,495. Compare that to the Toyota Tacoma King Cab SR model with automatic transmission. At invoice minus rebates, Tacoma starts at $24,646. That's $4,151 more than our Frontier. Or the full-size Titan and Titan XD, starting at only $20,995 for a 2018 Titan Single Cab S model. And even better, just $26,995 for a 2018 Titan Crew Cab S model. And it's only at Kraft Nissan. Plus, the Nissan Titan has America's best truck warranty of 5 years or 100,000 miles, bumper to bumper. So please, before you buy a Dodge, Chevy, Ford, or Toyota, check out the Nissan Frontier and Titan trucks. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Prices include dealer preparation charge and Nissan Conquest or Loyalty Truck Cash.
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic Motor Oil for $33.99 and get a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. Plus, you'll earn double O-Rewards points during O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Need a break this week? Rock by the Sea Charity Music Festival returns this weekend to beautiful St. George Island. Rock by the Sea features live music from Thursday night through brunch on Sunday. Enjoy artists including Steve Everett, The Currys, Megan Farrell, American Idol contestant Christian Lopez, along with local favorites the Brown Goose and Tobacco Road Band. Proceeds from Rock by the Sea will benefit the Franklin County Public Library. Music is a second language and Camp Sunshine. To register and for more details, including a Friday golf tournament, head to rockbythesea.org. That's rockbythesea.org.
Football is in the air, temps are hot in Tallahassee, and so are the deals at Kevin's Fine Outdoor Gear. Regardless of the score, you still need to stock up on all your outdoor needs to get the job done. Kevin's is the area's top outdoor retailer, featuring thousands of hunting supplies from top manufacturers in the business. If hunting's not your thing, shop their great fishing tackle selection, including Shimano, G. Loomis, St. Croix, and much, much more. Need tailgating supplies? Kevin's has the largest selection of Yeti products in North Florida. Find them at 3350 Capitol Circle Northeast, just south of I-10 exit 203. Only minutes from FSU.
Thursday, September 27th at the Wilbury in Tallahassee. Join WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Jake the Snake Roberts on his Unspoken Word, Tales from the Road Tour. Jake the Snake tells hilarious stories from his days in the ring with Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and more from the golden age of wrestling. Then follows it up with an audience Q&A. Doors open at 8 p.m. Advance tickets on sale online at ticketfly.com and in town at Retrofit Records, Midtown Pies, Big Chief Smoke Shop, and the Wilbury. Jake the Snake at the Wilbury, Thursday, September 27th.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Good, folks. The Rock by the Sea Charity Musical Festival and Golf Tournament returns this weekend to beautiful St. George Island. Music starts Thursday night, as tomorrow, with performances all the way through brunch on Sunday. Featured artists include Steve Everett, The Currys, Megan Farrell, and American Idol contestant Christian Lopez, along with local favorites, the Brown Goose, cool name, and the Tobacco Road Band will also be playing this weekend. The Rock by the Sea Charity Golf Tournament takes place Friday, September the 21st at 9 a.m. at St. James Bay, and proceeds from this year's event will benefit 3 great causes: the Franklin County Public Library, Music as a Second Language, and Camp Sunshine, which is a summer camp for children with cancer. For details and registration information, please visit rockbythesea.org. Rock by the Sea, starting this Thursday night, St. George Island. Yeah, there you go.
That's tomorrow already.
Boom. Just like that. I can't decide if this week is going by fast or slow. I can't tell if this Saturday's game is going to be a turn for the better or a burying of a season for good.
outside of a couple of players on this roster, I do believe that everybody's giving their best effort. So in a way, I root for this team stronger than I have teams that won 9 or 10 games.
Sure.
Here in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, you want them to get it right.
They're just not. I mean, they're not good enough, especially on the offensive line. And I want those guys to get better. So, maybe this weekend is something of a positive that they can at least notch a win. Maybe the only win they have left on the schedule under their belts, but we'll see.
There's a weird part of me that thinks that they're going to figure something out. It'll be very, very basic, but they'll play extremely hard. They're going to give the kind of effort that will welcome a lot of people back and be the kind of thing that will cause you to like this team. I guess I'll equate it to, we've had some bad basketball teams that we've covered and some teams that you knew just simply weren't good enough. Some of them I thought were unlikable because they just didn't give the kind of effort that I wanted to invest in emotionally or otherwise, certainly not financially. Other teams that weren't good enough gave everything they had, and it allowed them to be in every game because they out-hustled, they dove, they did everything in their power to give themselves a chance just to win a basketball game in the toughest conference in America. Those teams I would invest in and I would watch, and I would really hurt for if they struggled, if they lost, because I knew they were laying it on the line. You can control your effort. You can always control your effort. If you're lacking talent, that's one thing, but the one thing you can control is certainly effort. And I think with Willie, you've got to get this team to play to where they're not domed up, because when you're thinking you're not playing, you got to get them, okay, I got 20 plays. These are the 20 plays we can run. We're in max protect. We're going to do everything we can to make this thing happen, and we are going to out-hustle. And it's sad to have to describe this, but you don't have margin for error when you're this bad up front, and you don't have any other way to play but as hard as you possibly can on every play if you're going to try to find a way to win 5 games. And I think maybe Saturday we begin to see that. There's no doubt this week has been an awful lot about, I believe in you still. You've got to understand, guys, that you have to buy in 100%. We're going to make it easier on you. Fire off the ball. Let's go. And if you do that with the skill position players that you have against a team like Northern Illinois, who does have a very good defense, you'll win the game. It won't be impressive, but you will. You'll win the game 24-10, something like that, that you're kind of like, all right, well, we won the game. But with that comes a confidence that you can win a football game, that you can find a way, that everything is not so arduous, that it's not always 3rd and 15, and that your quarterback's not always on his backside, and that there are plays to be made and the little things will give you opportunities against the likes of a Louisville or a Wake Forest or an NC State. And the next thing you know, you're possibly in position to win 5 or 6 games. And if you win 6 games, you're going to a bowl. And it's not a good season, and it's not what you would have wished for, but it's a hell of a lot better than 1-11, a hell of a lot better than being the team that is on the wrong end of streaks and legendary years of performance at the highest level that people cite now as the standard. And so I hope that's what this Saturday reveals. I hope this Saturday reveals that whatever that players-only meeting produced, whatever those conversations that Willie Taggart and Walt Bell and Harlan Barnett and the rest of the staff had with these kids, whatever that produced is, at the very least, max effort all the time, bust your ass, and give me a reason to invest. Give me a reason to believe that the message is resonating.
It's easy. If it's not max effort, you go to the youth, and you make mistakes for being green. And
I might already do it. I might already do it. It might be this Saturday that I did it. It might have been second half of the Syracuse game that I did it. There are candidates that we both know, might need to sit. A couple of guys in particular that I'm thinking about. Let's see if that happens. Let's see if they believe they'll invest. I don't know. It's a lost season. That much we do know. If you're a senior or if you're a redshirt junior and you don't believe there's time left in your career to buy into the new movement and everything that's going to take time to build, maybe you're reluctant to invest. And if that's the case, I mean, I hate your timing, but thanks for playing. Have a seat on the bench. We're going to go ahead and go all young.
You wonder if that's what Corey Martinez was thinking. Maybe he could see the signs in practice.
You know, it's interesting. I talked to somebody very close to Corey Martinez the other day, and they relayed a story. I don't know if it's true, but the person had no reason to lie to me. It's something as innocuous as this. He said that they asked Corey, did you know this was coming? And he said, no, I didn't think they'd be this bad. I didn't think that what I saw in practice looked to be this bad. That makes sense. It jives with what Willie and the guys have said, that none of them expected this. I do think they were caught completely off guard by just how far behind the 8 ball they really are up front, and then they were riddled with injury.
That's both of those things are true. I think confidence accounts for a huge piece to this pie.
Without question. And that's why I say just go out and get a win. It doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be pretty. It certainly has to feature a ton of effort. Get that done, and we'll go from here. And, you got to find a way to believe that you got a chance. I don't think those guys walk around on the football field these days believing they're going to win the game or that they have any chance to win the game.
No. Syracuse was apparent after the drop.
That's sad. Let's do probables real quick. Here we go. We'll wrap it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
A lot of day games. First night game will be the Mets and the Phillies. Noah Syndergaard goes for the Mets. Zach Eflin goes for the Phillies. Red Sox, Yankees, David Price, Luis Severino. Royals, Pirates, Heath Fillmyer, Chris Archer. Pirates got another win last night on a walk-off. Look at this team battling, trying to get to 500. Blue Jays, Orioles, Marco Estrada, Jimmy Yacobonis.
You guys are a couple of games north, aren't you?
I haven't checked recently. We were 3 under. We won a number of games here recently. I'll have to tell I checked out a little bit.
I don't blame you.
White Sox, Cleveland, Dylan Covey, Carlos Carrasco. We've got the Reds and the Brewers, Matt Harvey, Gio Gonzalez. Mariners, Astros, good game. Matt Festa, Dallas Keuchel. Giants, Padres, Chris Stratton, Robbie Erlin. Cubs, D-backs, another good game. Cole Hamels, and you guessed it, Robbie Ray.
All right.
Yeah. Angels Athletics, Felix Pena, Brett Anderson. Rockies, Dodgers, Tyler Anderson. Walker Buehler.
Trapper Keeper.
Games right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio tonight, late 10:10 Dodger Stadium.
Pre-game
Chavez Ravine.
Coverage begins 9:30 p.m. Pre-game coverage at 9:30 p.m.
Walker Buehler has been good. Did you know that?
I did not.
He's good.
Robbie Ray, turns out he was good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Walker Buehler
is good.
And Mikolas is good.
All these guys that we have fun with, they're good.
Yeah.
I didn't know Walker Buehler was so good. His last 3 starts, he's coming off an 8-inning, 9-strikeout performance against the Cardinals. He's limited hitters to a .201 batting average. He's made 4 starts against the Rockies this season with an ERA under 3.2. Rockies can hit.
Yes, they can. And that means you were at Coors Field doing some things.
All right. Come on, Rockies. Good work out of you, sir. Hope you guys enjoyed that Jake the Snake interview. I loved it. Good work out of you, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.